Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the world of RaceFace.Pro. My name is Stephen Koenig, and welcome to the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Championship. It's going to be a wild one. It's going to be a crazy one, and we got qualifying currently underway for our drivers. At the top of the charts, though, all to be expected. Jordan Sherritt putting in the fastest lap time so far with 1:59.04. I don't think that's going to hold for too much longer, though, because Henry Mayer is on the charge. Tariq Adam has taken the vow. He wants to push his way to the top. Kieran Patterson, after a rough race last night, is looking to try and improve and get himself towards the sharp end of the field. Luke Addison, who took the win last night for the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series, is looking to also take his fight to the running order. Bernard Barkhuizen looking to return to the sharp end. He's lying in 7th position at the moment, but all eyes go towards Cody Sherritt, now lying in 2nd place. Now, if we go and take our mind back a little bit, Cody Sherritt actually got 3rd in the previous race, taking the fight to the sharp end of the field, having a great battle with Daniel de Villiers for quite some time. So did Luke Addison had that battle at Barcelona. It was a beautiful thing to see. But now the drivers are trying to think of what they can do to go further. 33 cars are set to start this race, and 33 cars looking to launch their way up through the order. Tariq Adam now trying to push out a little bit harder. He's lying down in 5th place. Kieran Patterson down on his time, but Tariq Adam 0.3 up on his previous best. So this may be enough for him to get that little bit more momentum through as they charge their way up. Going to be a proper run if the drivers can get it to try and launch their way up. That 1:59.040 is to beat. And on the cards, a possible 1:58. We've seen it in qualifying. We've seen it in practice. Are they able to do it now? We're going to find out. Tariq Adam, 0.5 up on his last lap time. 0.4 comes across the line, puts himself into 2nd place, ahead of Luke Addison, who is now in 3rd. Cody Sherritt down into 4th place. But Jordan Sherritt gaining the momentum as he tries to make his way up the hill, as we saw Werner Skuman pulling off to the side. Obviously not the best run for him. He's going to reset, get himself back in, and the Pandasi driver looking to launch his way through the field. Couple of other drivers to keep an eye on. Vietia Buerta being one of them, moves himself up into 21st position. Jason Farmer, the one and only, going to be having a bit of fun out there. But the support does go out to the Stingers, because the Stinger Racing have been putting on a good show for everyone to keep an eye out for. So Stinger Racing looking to shout out there, and we got some reviews going and shouting out for Gerrit Bukers, who's racing at the moment and really sliding the car around, trying to push that a little bit further. He's into the top 20. When I actually had a chat to him, he said he's looking at top 15. Oh my heavens! Oh, okay, talk about hitting the wall so hard you ride it on the way through. That is definitely a unique way of doing it, and definitely a little bit of a sting in that one. I am yet to see a car do that this season. Well, even when there was a monster pile-up, Gerrit, you definitely take the award for biggest accident set out in qualifying and race. Proper bang there. Jordan Sherritt coming across the line puts a 1:58.9. So he managed to break into that 1:58. Luke Addison so far in 2nd place. Cody Sherritt still giving it horns, trying to make his way through. Our defending champion going and fighting his way through. Commentator's curse. That was definitely... I've got friends on the other side. I've just got to put it out there. I've got friends on the other side. You want to do a deal with me? You got to sign the contract that comes up in purple. It floats above your head. You sign it with the bone pen, and there we go. That's how it pretty much works. So we're taking charity donations, guys, for me to talk about drivers, because it seems like commentators' curses out there. So if you feel like it, we can donate to charity. Oh boy. Well, here at the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet, you got to be able to roll the dice. Sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're going to lose, but the only way you're going to be able to stick it out is you really need to try and keep your foot in and keep going, because you can become that huge winner with PokerBet. And even with you guys down in the virtual grandstands, you can see you guys all lining up the mountains and lining up at the start-finish line. Head over to the description below the video, and we have the affiliate link. Go and click on it. Join up with PokerBet and win big today. Lots and lots of new things have been kicking around. Lots of new events have been happening. And PokerBet also gearing themselves up for many of the competitors here in South Africa going over to Las Vegas and representing South Africa in a whole bunch of games as well. Always worth taking a look at, and always worth going and cheering on the fellow South Africans. Right, Ian Upton, Project Vapor F, new driver to the Project Vapor team. Been on a good climb, trying to improve. Catches the wall ever so slightly. Going to be a bit cautious on that one, and has to be a little bit on the backside there. Bego Krobler lying in 22nd position. Not ideal position for him at the moment. For those that haven't heard the big news that's come out from the hybrid racing, we have got Bego Krobler, who's currently out on track. This is going to be his last full season of racing only Assetto Corsa Competizione. He's going to be moving on to iRacing a little bit, so doing a bit of iRacing and ACC. So he's looking to end off his full-time run in ACC on the best wicket, and really pushing his way forward on that one. There's been some huge changes here in the world of sim racing, and drivers trying to really pick up the pace. Jordan Sherritt looking to also keep an eye out. But Luke Addison in second place. Cody Sherritt in third. Tariq Adam in fourth. Henry Mayer, our defending champion, lying in fifth. He said it's going to be a tough time out there to hold the crown. He's going to have to fight it up. But his championship rival, Bernard Barkhuizen, still in for a mix and is still battling it out. Kieran Patterson making his return to the world of ACC and having a bit of fun after going and doing a lot in the world of cricket. Has really pushed his way through. And also his dad, Alan Patterson's racing in the Pro-Am, which you guys can tune in with the likes of Tristan Herbst, who was racing last night. He's back behind the microphone to bring you all that action as well. And if you do go over to see the Pro-Am, do let him know that the pros say hi, and maybe he needs to add a little bit more fuel to his car. I'm never going to let him live that one down, and I don't think anyone should. Tristan, Mr. 93 later. Werner Skuman lying in 13th position. Bego Krobler managing to usurp that position, gets into 12th. Gerry van Zyl puts himself into 11th. And taking a look out to our virtual grandstands, a couple of familiar faces I see out there is Antonio Gamble, Anushka Buerta, and Samir Burks going in, jumping in. It's good to see you guys. Good to see our grandstands getting fuller and fuller and fuller, because it's getting wild out here with the championship getting closer and closer. Cody Sherritt, though, trying to make up some time and really been pushing quite hard to try and get ahead of everyone, not wanting to sit in the shadow of Jordan Sherritt and really put his way into the race and really show what he can do. So far has been on that winning wicket to really dial the car in. But a lot of hard work is needed, and I do know that he's been giving some guidance to the Omnis Gaming lot as well, to just give it an understanding of where everyone is in the race. Now, championship standing, something to keep an eye out for our Pro Series. We have got Luke Addison in first place, Henry Mayers in second, Tariq Adams in third, Jordan Sherritt's in fourth, Cody Sherritt's in fifth, Bernard Barkhuizen in sixth, Kieran Patterson in seventh, eighth is Christoph Peterson, Giovanni Porzero, and Ryan Barrington-Smith is in that top 10. So definitely a one to keep an eye out for, and we're going to just put it out there for our moderators just to show you some of the amazing standings. There it is for anyone that wants to take a look at the current standings of our championship and where it's going to be leading out to. It's going to be a tough time out there. Drivers are going to have to really think hard and fast about it. Jordan Sherritt, a lot to work around after his rough run of a double penalty at Barcelona due to pit entry, going and taking that one out. Gideon Reyna was actually one that took the pit board out and landed up creating this huge concertina of a variety of drivers missing out the pit boards. Guys having to keep a wild eye of it. So, Jordan Sherritt, Cody Sherritt, Luke Addison, Tariq Adam, Henry Mayer in 5th, 6th, Kieran Patterson. But take a look, Bego Krobler up into 12th, done a great running there. And LC Joubert also jumping in, saying all the best to Griffin Sim Racing. You can see the Griffin Sim Racing signs being put up as well. Also great to see Werner Skuman lying in 13th, Mac van der Merwe in 14th. A little bit further down, the Big Mac himself is trying to take a bite out of the competition. Fleming Bauer. Keep an eye on Fleming Bauer. He's been that little bit of an unsung driver at the moment. Gets really, really quick. Sometimes he's on that wicket to move his way up. Currently 0.3 up on his lap time, and he's really trying to give it horns at the moment. It may be able to work out because he's got Bernard Barkhuizen ahead of him that can give him a little bit of a tow down the home straight and try and pull him along. It's going to be a tough time out there. Let's see how that's going to work. I see Mordred Claessen's down in 22nd position. Unfortunately, he retired last night. Hope that we can see that car get to the end. Flaming Bauer comes across the line, puts himself into 8th position. That's into the top 10. Mac van der Merwe is the next one to come through and try and make it a bit of improvement as he's 0.1 up. Brandon Kruger as well has been on a bit of a climb. Try and move his way up through the field. Mac van der Merwe into 14th. Brandon Kruger, a little bit all put together now and having a good race out there. Looks like internet has has gotten a bit stable on his part, so he's going to be enjoying a good race here tonight. Jordan Sherritt, Cody Sherritt come across the line. They are going to be holding their positions currently. Luke Addison has one more lap to throw hands at them. Tariq Adam, Henry Mayer, Kieran Patterson, Bernard Barkhuizen, all needing to put a lap in. Fleming Bauer, Christoph Peterson, Gideon Reyna, all across the line. They can't go any further. Daniel Rowe in 11th position, though, needs to keep going. Harry van Zyl has to hold his position for now. Bego Krobler, not going to be up on his last lap time. Brandon Kruger, on the other hand, 0.4 up on his last lap time. That may be enough to really put him into the top 15. He's lying in 17th at the moment. He's going to give it horns right to the wire. It's going to be an absolute chase. Can he get it all up and going on the throttle? 0.4 of a second and puts himself into 8th place with a phenomenal charge all the way through. Chris Heineke is also one to keep an eye out for because Heineke is not backing down. Chris is going to push it all the way through. 0.6 of a lap faster. Late on the brake. Sends it. Oh no, clipped the curb and that was all she wrote for him. He was right on that wicket. Unfortunately, not able to do it. And now Daniel Rowe comes across the line. Mac van der Merwe in the chase, trying to pull himself along. And also take a look. We've got the James Hunt of Sim Racing down in the grandstands as well. That is Darius. And definitely good to see him out there. And also, for anyone that wants to know why Darius has got the Schmozmaz guy, that's because I can never say his surname right. I think I've renamed Darius I don't know how many times at this point, and even it's been the joke of the team. I'm waiting to see a new livery with a new name on the car the whole time. Mac van der Merwe, though, 0.1 of a second. He's going to really roll the dice here through the final corner. Going for it. Can you get improvement? 0.1, but not enough to jump him up through the order. So definitely some tough competition out there. Drivers are going to really have to figure out what they can do here to move their way forward and who's going to be able to get the climb come tonight. This is going to be a wild one. It's going to be great. And we are looking forward to some fantastic racing here in our pro division of the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Championship. And it's going to be a proper run nonetheless. So all coming into great stuff. I'm getting a bit of text messages as well. And we'll see what's going to be happening with all of it. Darius actually going and saying that Paul Fenter not going to be making it to the track. He is currently sitting in Durban, getting a flight back. So he is going to be supporting the rest of the LNR team and wishing them good luck for it as well. So good to see that there is a bit of an interest there. And guys going and having a bit of fun. Always fantastic. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going to be getting a kickoff with an ultimate run. And that is going to be round 5. Now, we're beyond the halfway mark. We're into the stages of the racing where it's now going to be a bit of a tough time out there. Drivers are looking to score valuable points and ensure that they stay in the top order. So this is going to be a huge time of what's going to be happening, who's going to be able to get the climb. Lots of the points on the line here, and I do think there is going to be a bit of pressure coming in from many of our drivers looking to push their way to the top. Jordan Sherritt, though, is lying 4th in the championship, and he can actually decide where the championship goes, either in Luke Addison's favor or in Tariq's favor. Now, that's always a difficult one because you also want to score valuable points, but with the championship being so close, I mean, it's always a tough time out there. You've got to think about yourself. It goes away from being a team to rather thinking about who needs to be able to climb up the top. So it is going to be a huge run for our drivers looking to mark their way up towards the sharp end of the field, and who's going to be able to really step it up here tonight for the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Championship. And everyone geared up, ready to go, hoping that they can get ready to rock and roll. We will be heading down to the track to see what we can do, how the drivers are going to move their way forward, and who's going to be standing at the top of the chart. So, as we get all the cars rolling off. Tim, the cameraman's going to give us a bit of sight of all the action, and it is all going to be wild. All eyes go towards the front, and it is going to be the sights and sound of Jordan Sherritt out in first place, and already Reginald Mutuleni, our crofty. No, I wouldn't say our crofty. It would be more our Nico Rosberg of sim racing, going to be giving us some insight as well. A very, very well-known sim racer, streamer, and also loves to get valuable insight as well on how the racing goes. But that being said, let's give you valuable insight of where the grid is at the moment, because that is going to be on an interesting time. So, first place for the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Championship is currently fourth in the championship, and that is Jordan Sherritt. Cody Sherritt, his brother, lining up. How's that? A bit of a lockout for the Sherritt family, and we're going to have a brother duel. Jordan, the older brother, who is riding up to the top. Cody Sherritt is in second place, younger brother. Bud has a lot of potential to really go and usurp. Jordan hoping for Cody to actually take that crown off him, but behind them is going to be Luke Addison, currently running in third place with Tariq Adam. Henry Mayer, our defending champion, he's running in fifth. Kieran Patterson is running in sixth. Bernard Barkhuizen in seventh. Brandon Kruger in eighth. Fleming Bauer in ninth. Christoph Peterson going and having a bit of fun. He is going to be charging his way through to the front. He's lying in 10th position. Gideon Reyna in 11th. Daniel Rowe in 12th position, followed by Gerry van Zyl, Bago Krobler, Mac van der Merwe, Henko van der Berg, Werner Skuman, Mahayath Musa, Andre Serradio, Veer Tia Buerta, and being a bit of an extreme service himself, is lying in that 20th position. He's going to have to be very careful on his climb. Johan Blicknotes is running in 21st, getting chased down by the Angry Panda. Mordred Klaassen looking to redeem himself here tonight and get to that finish line. Michael Schultz running in 23rd, 24th Loic Randeveld, followed by Michael Donaldson, Ian Upton, Garrett Bucas, Ryan Barrington Smith, Henry Platz, Jason Farmer, Tiernas Buerta, Darren Miller, Chris Heineke, and Terence Ferreira rounding out our pack here for the race. So this is going to be a proper run, and it is going to be a very, very interesting one. So as they make their way through the Forest Elbow, which Darius actually went and gave us a little bit of information long ago to me, and went and said, the Forest Elbow, how did it get its name? It was a motorbiker during practice, fell, broke his elbow, and he managed to get back on the bike for the race the following day after going to the hospital, got it in a cast and raced around, won his championship and won the race, and his surname was Forest, hence Forest Elbow. Found that one out. It's just the more you know comes through to mind. Got Caleb Malwa also jumping in the grandstands as well. Good to see him out there. Oracle ZA going, Michael, Liam, and Humidify. Let's have a good race in the mountains. You're a #1 supporter. So it's good to see super fans coming out to enjoy the world of racing. But this is going to be an interesting one. Jordan Sherritt, Cody Sherritt. Now, this can go two ways. We can either see a brother brawl, which I think everyone wants to see these two go at each other, or we may see Jordan get the jump here. But this is worst case scenario for Luke Addison and Tariq Adam, as they are caught behind and closer to Henry Mayer and Bernard Barkhuizen, who have both vowed they will at least get towards the sharp end of the field. They're going to put the pressure on. Kieran Patterson, who went off for a great time until he landed up in an accident last night, also close enough to the sharp end of the field. Brandon Kruger's in the mix, Fleming Bauer, Christoph Peterson. This is going to be wild as they round the final corner. This is going to be all the charge. 70 k's an hour, back onto the brakes. Warm those rims up, warm the brakes up. Let it bleed into the carcass of the tire. Get those tires up to temp as you make your way through. Lights will go on as we wait for Jim to hit the lights. Tim's on the camera. Jordan Sherritt in first, Cody in second. Lights on, lights on, lights on, lights on, and lights off, and we go racing. Already 2 drive-through penalties. Henry May and Brandon Kruger for speeding during it, and they are unfortunately going to have a problem, as we do see a huge whiplash from Jordan Sherritt going and losing a lot of momentum there. That is only going to help Cody Sherritt on the run, so this has really turned it. Cody Sherritt got the advantage. He needs to try and eye out and hold that inside line, but the Mustang just having a little bit more legs. Can he go a little bit later on the brakes? Tries, defends against Luke Addison, who runs up very, very wide. Tariq Adam immediately slams the door into him and says, not going to happen. Kieran Patterson goes for the fight as well. Bernard Barkhuizen lying a little bit behind. Henry Mayer, who is just now stuck on the outside, slipping down the field, is going to have that drive-through penalty on him as he tries to battle it out against Brandon Kruger. Brandon running up against the wall side by side. They're still going at it. Oh, Brandon Kruger off into the wall, crashes off. He's able to bring it back though, rejoining a little bit in a rough place. Gideon Rayner goes and gets a fright there as they jump their way through the mountain. This is going to be a tough time for Gideon Rayner. He's got to work with his teammate now and see where it goes. Brandon Bego Krobler, Henko van den Berg. It looks like it's all been pretty clean at the moment. No too many big hits, but big news has to come in from Henry Mayer and Bernard Barkhuizen. Brandon Kruger, I apologize. So Henry Mayer and Brandon Kruger both sporting a drive-through penalty. That means they're going to be going through the pits 3 times during the course of this race because they have 2 mandatory pit stops plus 1 drive-through added onto it. Forget about being in the top 10. That takes you right out of the fight. Both drivers are going to have to really think very carefully over how they're going to do this and where are they going to position themselves. Brandon Kruger, we do know, is suffering a bit of damage after the impact against the wall as he was fighting it out. He's going to have to take that into mind as we do see Jordan Shearer, Cody Shearer, Tariq Adam, and Luke Addison settling them down into a good pace at the moment as they carve their way through. Fleming Bauer, though, is starting to have a train with Gideon Rayner coming at him. Bego Krobler, as we do have Brandon Kruger now pulling into the pits. Going to be serving that drive-through as quick as possible. Try and get it done and dusted. Get yourself back out onto the track and carry on the run. It does look like Henry Mayer's going to keep on the power, though. Not going to back out of the fight as we do have the number 5. Oh, that's Loic Randall! Loic Randall into the wall. Major damage for the number 5, and that is not ideal. Let's go back in the replay and take a look what's going on. He was fighting out with Mordred Claessens, and Claessen's in the Lamborghini right behind him, trying to push through. And this is going to be a bit of a tough time. Mordred Claessens looks up on the inside, tries to get on by. A little bit of a rough time, gets a snap oversteer, and it looks like the steering absolutely disconnected. Thankfully, no other damages were done to the rest of the field, but definitely not ideal circumstances for him. Gideon Rayner going to have to be very careful here. Brandon Kruger needs to make his way through. And we'll have to see how it all goes. Drivers really needing to push that a little bit more. And we'll have to see how it all goes. Henko van den Berg onto the back of Bego Krobler, trying to push as hard as he can to get a little bit of momentum, but all news goes on to Henry Mayer, our defending champion. Worst case scenario, behind Bernard Barkhuizen, still got that drive-through penalty. He's got to serve it in 3 laps though, and that is going to be looming. It means anyone that's looking to take the fight to him doesn't have to push too hard. They will be taking note of it, but not looking to really fight it out as yet. They're going to be a little bit more on the cautious approach, knowing that they can get on by. Luke Addison, though, closing up to the back of Tariq Adam. Tariq doing everything he can to fight it out, and there was an understanding between these two that they're going to push each other to the limit regardless of it, and that is so far what's being done. But at the moment, while these two fight, as Luke gets on by Tariq going and outbreaking himself into the corner, and that lost him a bit of time. Kieran Patterson now with a big Mustang going and fight. If he comes through, Kieran gets it in, goes and defends. Tariq down yet another position in 2 corners. This is just nightmares. We do see a battle. Andre Sororio, Werner Skuman running past one another, with the likes of Skuman managing to lose out that little bit of pace. Now tucked in behind Andre Sororio, and now Mahath Musa looks to go on the chase. So lots and lots of little events are starting to happen here. Drivers trying to push that a little bit harder, see where they can go. But this race is all about the nutrition rates of it. You've got to keep yourself going. Any bit of damage on here is detrimental through the mountain. You can lose up to, quite a bit, as we do see. Who was that? That was Kerry van Sale that went and clipped the wall on the way, on the climb. He's got a bit of damage on the side. That has created a Constantino effect with Henko van den Berg right on the back of him. Andre Sorodio running in 16th position, also onto the back of Henko van den Berg. Another hit for Kerry van Sale. He is not comfortable in that Mustang, and little mistakes starting to creep in. You can see how It's starting to create this huge behemoth of a train behind him, and he's got to be so careful. Now down through the dipper into the forest elbow. He's going to be a bit down on the pace as we do see a bit of a clip. That was Mac van der Merwe actually knocking the wall. He's going to be hurting, and I do think, yes it is, Mac van der Merwe has got a substantial amount of damage. Look at the steering angle on that Ferrari. Mac is now hurting badly, losing out the run to Bego Krobler is after Gideon Reina, but that is going to have Gerry van Zyl, Henko van der Berg, everyone coming through. And unfortunately, oh no! Henko van der Berg against the wall, spins it around, loses it completely. Mac van der Merwe stays out of the way, and Werner Skuman gets on by, Mahiath Musa gets on by, Andre Sorodio off into the dirt. My heavens, everyone went wild here. The 118 landed in a bit of a problem with this. Let's try take a look. This was Werner Skuman, I believe, that was on the run. And no, it was Gerry van Zyl that was on the run. And we saw the accident there. No one clipped them. Oh no! That was Sorodio clipping it. The likes of Gerry van Zyl, and unfortunately turned Gerry right the way around. Not ideal circumstances. Wow, not often you get to see that. Terence Ferreira making a clean pass right past Ryan Barrington-Smith. Ryan is definitely battling out there. We do know that Terence Ferreira, once he gets the bit between his teeth, he's able to get going. But now Ian Upton has an opportunity. Tried to look for a pass. The slipstream, unfortunately, a little bit too strong there with the likes of Ryan Barrington-Smith just tucking in behind and to keep going. So there is a couple of drivers that are feeling the pressure right now, trying to see where they can go and who will be able to get the climb. So this is definitely a tough time out here. Fleming Bauer with the likes of Gideon Reina trying to make his way through. Michael Schultz and Michael Donaldson having a good go with one another. Kira Bukes right onto the back of him. Tinus Burta and Darren Miller giving the chase is now 0.2 of a second. Closes right up. Thriller Miller himself looking to really get into the fight. Closes onto the back of Tinus Burta. Couldn't quite get the pass done as yet, as we do see the likes of Jason Farmer running on a little bit on the dirt there. Not going to be the most comfortable going through, but we do have Andre Sorodio, who has had that little bit of contact. He's now able to move his way back into the race. He's onto the train, pulling himself along. It's going to help him down the Conrad straight. But Tinus Burta has got right onto the back of Carrot now, and Carrot's going to have to be very careful on this charge. Down the slipstream they go, and the huge train starting to build. It's starting to get wild, and all is on the cards here. Tariq Adam off into the dirt, though, and that was at the end of the Conrad straight. He's rejoining with the rest of the field coming by, and he's just trying to keep it clean. Dives into the pits, and I think he is suffering with a bit of damage. No, Tariq Adam pulling way offline there. What on earth happened to the 99 that has caused such a failure? So right behind Kieran Patterson, pushing as hard as he can. Getting right up close, nearly a bump draft. Oh, he clipped the curb. There's a second impact. There's a third. There's a fourth. Oh, keeps it out, but man, just catches the wall the whole way through. And a tough time out there. Pulls into the pits, and I think he's getting a bit of work done onto that car. I really, I want to see guys get across the line. I really want to see the guys be able to push it and really stay in for the fight. I know it's a tough time out there. Tinus Burta trying to go around the outside of Sorodio. Tries his luck. Unfortunately, the BMW is going to just get the squeeze on and gets on past. That's going to allow Henry Mayer to get back into the fray. Remember, Henry Mayer has served that drive-through penalty and is going to be back on the climb. I still firmly believe that I'd like to see the drivers get back in and get racing. We've got 33 cars still out there. Tariq Adam still has an opportunity to get going. Ian Upton, but a couple of drivers that are still back out on track. Mac van der Merwe going and making his way through. I don't see a Loic at this point. I think he may have gone and unfortunately exited his car after taking a bit of a hit there, but definitely I got fingers crossed to see the drivers able to get these cars across the line. I think everyone wants to see the cars go across the line, and our favourite drivers really putting on a good show. Mahiath Musa with behind Werner Skuman. They're on a hard chase with one another, really doing everything they can and trying to make up as much time, but Mahiath Musa gets that little bit of pace. So let's go through the running order as the first 10 minutes will be going by now. So it is Jordan Sherritt out in first, along with Cody Sherritt in second place. Luke Anderson putting the pressure on him, lying in third place. Kieran Patterson in fourth with Bernard Barkhuizen, Daniel Rowe, Christoph Peterson, Fleming Bauer, Gideon Reina, Bego Krobler, Werner Skuman, Mahiath Musa, Viertia Buerta in 13th. 14th is Johan Bloknoot, followed by Mordred Claessens, Michael Schultz, Kerry Bucas going and making up some time, Michael Donaldson pulling into the pits. And that is a bit of a weird one, unfortunately, for the number 1. And it looks like he may have run into a bit of an issue, and it looks like number 6 ran into an issue. So that is Rodeo, who was making his way down the mountain, got onto the Conrad straight. He had a little bit of an off-track excursion, possibly. Got a little bit unsettled, got a McLaren right up against his tail. I think that's Viertia Buerta, who is giving him a little bit of a push to go onto the back of Darren Miller. And that was pretty much a pickup there. So nothing too bad there. Fleming Bauer, Gideon Renner catching the wall, and so does Bego Frobler through the corner. So both drivers also going to be sustaining a bit of damage there as they fight it out for 9th and 10th. Werner Skuman, Maeth Musa, Viertia Buerta, Johan Bloknoot, Mordred Claessens up into 15th. 16th is Michael Schultz, followed by Kerry Bucas, Darren Miller, Andres Serradio, Henry Mayer in 20th. 21st, Jason Farmer, Chris Heineke, Brandon Kruger, Ryan Barrington-Smith, Ian Upton, Terence Ferreira on the chase though, making a great climb up there. Henko van der Berg, Tianus Buerta, that's Kerry van Zale, Tianus Buerta, Michael Donson, Henry Plutt in the pits once again. Mac van der Merwe trying to put some times in. Good to see old Mac still going despite having all that damage on the car. He is still taking some time out. Henko van der Berg and Tariq Adams still sitting in the pit lane, both running into a bit of an issue there. Not ideal circumstances. Do want to see the cars go, as we do see Luke Addison fighting Cody Sherritt tooth and nail, trying to go for that second place at the moment. Cody going a little bit more defensive. Luke actually coming off the gas a little bit there, just to give a bit of room. Going to try and look for a pass. Kieran Patterson and Bernard Barkhuizen on the other hand, they're going to push each other into the final corner. Kieran runs out a bit wide, and so does Bernard. A little bit of elbow to elbow has introduced Daniel Rowe into the mix as well, as Bernard looks to try go up on the inside, couldn't get the pass done, compromises his exit, and that is going to allow Daniel Rowe to have a good go at him. So these three are going to have a good chase. The 199 though is into the dirt, and that is a bit unfortunate. Even the Project Vapor driver landing up into the dirt. Number 20 also having a bit of a tough time. But Kieran Patterson leading out the charge, has got Bernard Barkhuizen onto the back of him. Daniel Rowe still pushing as hard as he can, trying to make up some time. Gideon Reyna has got Bego Krobler, and take a look, Fleming Bauer. So don't sleep on him. He's definitely one of the drivers that when he gets that click, he can go. He can really push himself, but it's kind of a switch. It's either on or off. There isn't two ways about it. And Fleming Bauer at the moment showing a really good run as they charge away up. Werner Skuman though has got Mahath Musa onto the back of him. Mahath Musa trying to put as much pressure as he can onto the back of the Mustang. See if he can try and force a mistake at the moment. Viertia Buerta has got Johan Bloknoot all over the back of him, and Bloknoot gonna try look to go around the outside. Looks on the inside, couldn't quite get the pass done. Gonna have a bit of an understeering moment in the Mustang as they fight their way through. Now remember, this is a double pit stop that they will need to serve, and that does change up how the race goes. Who's going to be able to get that run through the order, and that is always it's a difficult time out for doing that, that's for certain, because you've got to plan, what are your tires going to do, what's your fuel looking like, where are you going to get the advantage from. So do see Ryan Barrington losing a little bit of pace through Skyline as he chases down Chris Heineke. A little clip on the dirt cost him a bit of time there. So a little bit of fights all over the show, but now it starts getting into the thinking game. This is where you start trying to picture the moments and see where you can get that advantage. Where are you going to have that run that's going to separate you? As Viertia Buerta is about to see what run's going to work for him up against Bloknoot, and Bloknoot instantly comes across the nose, defends against Viertia Buerta. Mordred Claessen's now back into the attacking position. He's down into 15th position, but has an opportunity to go in for the climb. As Mahath Musa now dives into the pits, going and pitting in from 12th position. And that is going to be one of our top runners that is now trying to get all sorted out. Darren Miller onto the back of Andre Serradio, trying to push as hard as he can to get into the fight. So, interesting time is to see where Mahath Musa actually comes out after his pit stop, because he needs to keep ahead of Tianus Buerta, who's lying way down the order. So this is going to be a bit of an interesting one to see where the bar is set. It's an early pit stop in the first 15 minutes of the race. Is a little bit of an early one. I would rather see the drivers extending it a little bit further, but maybe they're going for the undercut, try and avoid all the keeping close to one another, try and extend those tires a little bit longer in the second half. Maybe get your splash and dashes out the way, or we'll see if there'll be a time change. I see Brandon Kruger he served his drive through, but I want to take a look. Tennis Berta, 28.1 seconds total. Only spent 5.3 seconds in the box. And that is telling me that he went in just for a splash and dash. Mahaya Famusa, 6 seconds. Right, so this is an interesting one, as both drivers have opted for the same way to handle the race. Get into the box, not change tires, just do a bit of a refuel and get back out, not to lose out too much time. Very interesting approach to handle things, and it's depending on how long you can keep the tires going, especially with the track being 29 degrees. It's blistering heat out there, and when you're pushing as hard as you can, like what we've got Viertia Buerta and Mordre Claessens doing, they're going to be fighting out. Viertia Buerta stuck on the right-hand side, Mordre on the left. The advantage is going to go to Viertia, but he needs to try and work his way down the straight. Well, no, Mordre Claessens, actually a quick flash of the lights just to say thank you as he got past Viertia Buerta, gave a little bit of a lift, allows Mordre to go, and I think he's going to use him to pull him a little bit closer to Blicknote to just stay into the fray there. So definitely some hard work going in. Back up towards the sharp end of the field, Kieran Patterson, Bernard Barkos and Daniel Rowe are going in a hammer and tongs at one another. This is a 3-car train fighting it out. Luke Addison and Cody Sherritt still keeping a relatively maintained distance between the two of them. Nothing too ballistic at the moment, but not can be said for Kieran Patterson. Bernard Barkhuizen tries to go out the outside, actually leans a little bit on the right hand, the right rear of Kieran Patterson to try and get that pass done and dusted. Cody Sherritt, though, catches the wall, and that is Luke Addison by. So a bit of a swap up. Luke Addison gets a pass on Cody Sherritt. Cody still trying to stick him for the fight, though, both in Ferraris, which have been said to be having a good chance on the circuit at the moment. Cody starting to lose that little bit of time, and I think maybe that catch against the wall cost him a bit. Kieran Patterson breaking away from Bernard Barkhuizen and Daniel Rowe. Christoph Peterson in a little bit no man's land, along with Gideon Reyna. Bego Krobler would love to be in that situation, but he's got Fleming Bauer, 0.4 of a second on him. And just in the mirrors, you can see Werner Skuman climbing down the hill and closing up the gap as quick as possible. So Fleming Bauer still in the mix to try and take a position. So a couple of cars into the pits. The likes of Terence Ferreira into the pits, and he's getting some work done on the car. Quite a bit of work, actually, by the looks of it. Might be going for a tyre change and a bit of fuel. And let's see how that works out for him. Henry Platt back out on track. Always fantastic to see Mac van der Merwe back out on track. It's always great to see drivers. Even though there's a little bit of an impact, the drivers are still pushing through perseverance and will be pushing their way towards the sharp end of the field. At the moment, though, we're starting to see a good battle of Fleming Bauer around the outside. Bego Krobler trying to go a little bit defensive. Will hold the outside line, have the advantage going through the S, and gets on by. So, through the chase, it was a clean run there. Werner Skuman tried showing his nose. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get that pass done and dusted, but is enough to keep going. And while he gets that happening, Johan Blicknote is starting to lose a little bit around to Mordre Claessens, who wants to go and back up his teammate. Now, that will allow a bit of an interesting dynamic to form between the likes of Werner Skuman and Mordre Claessens if they can pull each other along. But that's going to be a difficult fight as Mordre Claessens is stuck behind Johan Blicknote and has got Viertia Buerta on his tail, pushing as hard as he can to try and get on by. Fleming Bauer going on the attack once again to Bego Krobler. It seems like Bego's Achilles heel has to be this corner here, the turn 3, turn 4, turn 5. This whole complex of corners is definitely being a proper run all the way through, having a difficult time out there. And with Fleming Bauer just catching that inside ball, did lose out a little bit of time. That's going to allow Werner Skuman to close up that gap. Bego Krobler to open it up. Luke Addison making his way around the likes of Mac van der Merwe, and Jordan Sherritt now going to have a go at him as well. No, that is Henry Platt. I do apologize. Henry Platt is ahead of them. That's almost giving Nitro McLaren. So Cody Sherritt getting held up a little bit on the hill, but you got to be patient. You got to monitor the positioning, and that's the one thing about Bathurst. It's all about patience and perseverance. You've got to be committed through the corners, but when you're caught behind a car through the tighter complexes, you can't put your nose in. You can't shove your way through. You've got to wait it out. You've got to try and get that drive. Maybe drop back a little bit and allow a slingshot through the corner and let the car close up the gap naturally to get your run. Werner Skuman trying to have a natural run on Fleming Bauer as they make their way through. Advantage is going to be towards Fleming Bauer in the quick right, but Werner Skuman's going to have the advantage into the chase, and that just beautifully lined him up to get it sorted. Brandon Kruger Darren Miller also getting into a little bit of a situation between one another, number 91 and 87. And, oh, there we go. Miller catching the wall ever so slightly. Now trying to make his way into the forest elbow. This is a replay. And I think Brandon Kruger may have caught him. Oh, Miller gets it all out of shape. Comes back. And it's a little scuffle between the two. Nothing too bad. But really, really well done on that. But Kieran Patterson, on the other hand, can't be too happy as Bernard Barkhuizen gets into the top of the complex with Daniel Rowe in between them and Kieran down the order. What on earth happened to the 1-2-3 car? Looks like there was contact when that happened with him. So let's try and take a quick look between Bernard Barkhuizen. Goes around the outside, trying to bleed off the brakes a little bit early. Barkhuizen leaning up against the right side of the car. There is a gap between Kieran and Bernard. All looking clean. Now into Hell's Corner, into the first. And a little bit of a lead. Oh, no, never mind. That is quite a bit of heave-ho to get past. And that went and opened the door for Daniel Rowe, who capitalized on it. Said thank you very much. And Bernard Barkhuizen, unfortunately, not going to be the happiest camper there. But Kieran, on the other hand, won't be the happiest. They're going to have to put their head down and really focus on what they need to do. Try and close up the gap once again. So it's going to be a hard charge between them. Mordred Claessens and Viertia Buerta still giving a chase to one another. So it's also good to see as there's little battles forming all over the circuit. You've got to take your hats off to the drivers and see where it goes. But first of those that have completed their first pit stop, Mahath Musa, lying in 23rd position, has set the bar. Anyone else pitting now will have to keep ahead of him and see where they end up. As we do see Mordred Claessens closes up under braking to Johan Blicknote. Blicknote trying to open that gap a little bit further as they fight their way through, looking left, looking right, trying to see where he can go here into the toe, pulls himself along. And now it is just a charge all the way through to make it work. Kieran Patterson having a go at Bernard Barkhuizen. And Bernard going and not having too much of a problem there. Was there a lift? Because Bernard was leading that pack and unfortunately didn't quite turn out. So there was actually contact between the two. No, that was just earlier contact. So what has happened, folks? What I'm going to put my tinfoil hat here and just go and think about is possibly Bernard Barkhuizen actually gave a little bit of a lift to try and get Kieran back into position, as a bit of a sorry for that one, and that unfortunately compromised him for Daniel Rowe to get on by. Yes, not ideal circumstances, but if that is the case where Bernard did give a little bit of room back to Kieran, well done on him. That is a seriously well done on him. Now the hard work comes in where they have to try and close up the gap to the likes of Daniel Rowe running in that 4th place. Venus Kuman all over the back of Bago Kroblet going chasing down, looks to try and make a climb up through the cutting, couldn't quite get it sorted out, gonna have to wait it out. Johan Blicknote going defensive as Mordred Claessens runs out wide. Viertia Buerta tried having a go at him. The two of them did have a little bit of contact, nothing too bad, but it does open up the gap once again between all the drivers. So everyone having to think a little bit more during the course of this race and see where they're going to end up. Always a difficult race, nonetheless, that the drivers are going to have to deal with, and especially with this monstrous climb, they're going to have to really start thinking about their pit stops. What are they going to do, and where are they going to end up? So far, Jordan Sherrod out in 1st place has opened up a 9.9 second gap ahead of Luke Addison. Cody Sherritt lying in 3rd, Daniel Rowe in 4th, Kieran Patterson in 5th. 6th place is Bernard Barkhuizen, followed by Christoph Peterson, Gideon Reyna, Bago Krobler, Werner Skuman and Fleming Bauer in 11th. Johan Blicknote in 12th. 13th place is Mordred Claessens, followed by Viertia Buerta and Michael Schultz having a good go at him. Andre Serradio, Brandon Kruger, Darren Miller in 18th. 19th, Ryan Barrington-Smith, followed by Jason Farmer. Moving a bit further down, 21st, Ian Upton, followed by Chris Haneke. Mahath Musa, Harry van Zale. Remember, Mahath Musa has already served his first pit stop, and Kurt Bucas has also served his first pit stop on the run. Tianis Buerta completed his pit stop, and Michael Donaldson, Henry Platt, Mac van der Merwe, Henry Mayer, Hinko van den Berg still lying in the pits. I really hope that they can get those 2 cars out, or those 3 cars out and back on track. It does look like an unfortunate retirement for Tariq Adam. Something may have gone mechanically wrong with the car during the course of that, and he's unfortunately brought it to a stop and brought it back into the pits with a bit of a retirement there. Not ideal circumstances, but it's just not the way we want to see it to go. Vinderskuman gets a run on Bago Krobler, gets past done. Bago now trying to get the climb back up through the hill, nose to tail with one another, really seeing where they can go. And Bago is on a proper push to try and get it back from Werner Skuman. Not going to be an easy fight though, as we do see Chris Heineke is also into the pit. So pit stops are starting to happen. Those first pit stops, roughly 45 minutes is where we should see majority of the drivers diving into the pits, getting themselves sorted and getting back out onto the track. That is the rough idea in terms of it. But remember, there's 2 pit stops in this race that need to be served. So 45 minutes is going to be the one. I think the other is going to be sitting around the 20-minute mark, maybe the 15-minute mark. Get that quick splash and dash and get going. You don't want to put tires on in the last 15 minutes. That is going to be a tough time out there. Jordan Sherritt, though, a little bit slower through the corner, and I think that was just out of pure caution. May go for a pit stop. No, the second guessed it. He lined himself up, but didn't quite work. Kieran Patterson catching up to Daniel Rowe. They have caught up to the likes of Henry Pluck. Henry Pluck stuck on the outside. Couldn't quite get the momentum. And now Kieran Patterson, who tried to catch up to Daniel Rowe in that last little bit, unfortunately couldn't do so. Side by side between Fleming Bauer and Bego Krobler as they head their way through the kink down the Conrad straight. Oh, a little bit of contact against curb. Fleming Bauer was able to save it. Bego Krobler getting that pass done and dusted. And that was a bit of a close moment for both drivers. And I think Fleming Bauer took a deep breath of note on that run for a tough time out there. Just clipping the inside curb. It jacks the car up quite a bit as Johan Blichnow pulls on pass along with Mordrake Larson. So they are not going to go into the pits as yet. Interesting to see drivers not going for a pit stop just as yet. Andre Seradio going after Brandon Kruger did look to try and fight his way around. Didn't make too much of a difference between the two of them. Seradio still trying to close up the gap though in the toe, pulling himself along 0.3 of a second though. Can it work as they try and chase into Hell's Corner? Not able to get on by there, and now it's down the long straight. Seradio is going to have the advantage here, utilizing that slipstream, pulling himself along. Got to be careful of the dirty air. It's going to take a lot of the downforce off the nose of that BMW, and it really needs it to try and tuck the nose into the right-hander that's coming up. So he's going to have to really be cautious, dips on the brakes, dives a little bit early just to get a bit of pressure on that right-hand side of the nose, try and turn the car and get that little bit of rotation on the way through. Jason Farmer and Ian Upton side by side, they go. Project Vapor and the likes of Jason Farmer and the Griffin Sim Racing. Beautiful run between them. Jason Farmer going and scoring that position ahead of Ian Upton, both showing great prowess heading into the corner and a little bit of room on the way through. Great to see the drivers really going pushing the mark here, trying to see where they can go, but I think Ian Upton finding out in 21st. He's looking for that 20th position onto the back of Jason Farmer. Has closed up the gap, 0.4 of a second. This is our closest fight on circuit. Well, it was, because now Fleming Bauer is closed up to Bego Krobler coming out of the Forest Elbow. So they are really doing everything they can. Oh no, Harry Finzel into the wall. Monster damage to the Mustang. Waits it out and gets towed back to pits. That is an absolute ouch moment and definitely not what we want to see. Fleming Bauer, though, doesn't want to see Bego Krobler dive up on the inside, tries to go for the undercut. Bego hooked on the grass, tries to bring it back. Fleming Bauer gets the pass done and dusted. Bego tried his luck, unfortunately, a little bit too far out. Got a little bit of a slip on the tires, and that was all she wrote. To drop down the position, he's going to have to try and work it back to Fleming Bauer. Now, I do want to see what happened to the likes of Kerry Finzel. That's 118 car as he made his way in towards Skyline. All looking fine at the moment, but this is as he started climbing up towards Skyline. Things went a little bit screwball, and tank slapper bang into the wall. 3, that's 2, 3, and 4 times into the wall. A little bit of ping pong on the way up. Not ideal, but unfortunately going and putting to bed on that little run. He's going to have to get that car fixed back out onto the circuit. Try and keep the car circulating, maximizing the points, because you still get points being in the top 20. And at the moment, the nutrition rate working out in his favor. Michael Schultz, though, unfortunately turned around at the bottom of the hill, and he loses out to Brandon Kruger. Andre Seradio Miller not able to get that pass just as yet. And so is Ian Upton, Jason Farmer. They unfortunately weren't close enough to go and capitalize on that moment. But for Michael Schultz, he's going to have to worry about the tire wear, what's happened to it. Gone and heated up those tires by hooking it sideways. It's gone and brought the temperatures right up. It's brought the PSI in the tires right up. It's going to be like driving on ice at the moment. Got to try and just cool everything down, get yourself refocused, and get your head back into the game, which is a very, very difficult task. Nonetheless, when critical errors start coming through, especially, it's comfortable to keep it out of the wall, but you always will sit in the back of your mind of what if coming through and going and bugging you. So we're getting closer to the 45-minute mark, where I do think the drivers will be pulling into the pits. Now, the pit window is only open for 39 minutes, folks, and that's something you've got to be well aware of. All the pit stops have to be served within the 39 minutes. The pit window opened the 10 minutes after the race started and closes 10 minutes before the race ends. So in that very short window, you're going to have to get 2 pit stops done and dusted. That can cost you a lot of time, and the drivers are going to have to keep that well in mind. But the closer they bring it towards the mark, the less time they're going to be able to really go and change those tires. And that's where you're going to be worrying about saving your tires now. How much wear and tear are you starting to push onto the car? Because now you're going into only being able to do fuel saving and try and just get that fuel sorted out, do short stints, and get yourself circled around. But looking at all the drivers, especially with the heat on the track at the moment, tires starting to blister, sliding effect coming in, and that grip starting to taper off on the drivers, and they're starting to lose those rears a little bit more. Understeer for the front engine's going to be creeping in more and more for like the Mustangs and the BMWs. They're going to be battling out there. The Aston Martins as well will be starting to suffer with that exact one. The nose doesn't want to tuck into the corners as much. For anything like the Lamborghinis, the Porsches, Ferraris, they will be having a tough time of trying to get the car in, and they'll have that little bit of over rotation, so they're having to constantly correct more mistakes. Kieran Patterson, though, going to try and correct a mistake a little bit early on onto the back of Daniel Rowe. Bernard Barkhuizen way back, 4.9 seconds back, and that is a monster run between them. Unfortunately, going to be a difficult time out there. Getting a bit of information that Mordred Claessen's lightest contact from Claessen disconnected the wheel for Loic, and that is just, oh, that is gutting. That is absolutely cutting due to mechanical problems, and oh man, it's a risky one to try and put it back into the grid because you may run into a bit of a problem, and yeah, I can perfectly believe that. Well, like the commentary booth is open. It would be nice to have a chat to you, get a bit of an insight, and maybe you can give us a bit of an idea of, you know, what it was that you could feel or couldn't feel at that time for the rest in our grandstands. Get a bit of an understanding of what's going on. We talk about those critical mechanical errors that do start to creep in and push it. Like one of our pro drivers, unfortunately, retiring the car due to mechanical damage and mechanical fault, going and saying, look, this unfortunately is the race, and this is where he's going to have to go. It's just, man, your heart goes out, it bleeds out for it because you don't want to see it. It's definitely just one of those tough times out there. Let's see if we can possibly get him in for a bit of a chat. Kieran Patterson, Daniel Rowe chasing each other down, really looking to stamp their way through the field. Daniel Rowe at the moment doing a great job to hold back Kieran Patterson, but how long is the question, because Kieran has closed up that gap, absolutely going and fighting their way through and really doing everything he can to try and hold down the fort. But Kieran is going to be doing everything he can, constantly chipping away at that little bit of a fight, trying to push his way forward, seeing where he can get into the mix here and how far they can push their way down through the wire. So going to be a tough time out there. Mordred Claessen's, though, is onto the back of Johan Blichnote. Blichnote has also been rather defensive. Mordred Claessen's trying to keep himself sorted out at the moment, and that is going to be a proper run all the way through. Blichnote just keeping ahead of Claessen's as they looking to go at one another. Down the straight, now Mordred Claessen's is going to have the advantage here, pull his way up through the field, and he's going to have the slipstream, so he's going to have to keep it close, follow through the Conrad. Now, ideally, is you want to follow all the way down the Conrad straight, over the kink, and then eye yourself out for the inside line for the likes of the Chase, which is coming up now, looks towards the inside, wasn't close enough to go and capitalize on it. But ideally, is you want to get on the inside, try and slip your way around, straighten the steering out, and then come across the nose a little bit of it. But it doesn't help if your own Blichnote dives into the pits, going fighting it out. Great stuff, but unfortunately, when the driver pulls into the pits, that's pretty much that done and dusted, and opens up the fight. So 45 minutes so far, drivers starting to creep into the pits, and we're going to see more and more of those drivers starting to get themselves sorted out. At the moment, Jordan Sherritt out in first place, 16 laps down on his 17th lap. on a great run. Luke Addison in second place, 12.8 seconds behind him. But 2.6 seconds behind Luke Addison is Cody Sherritt. Still in there for a mix that can possibly go and influence how the race is going to go. Daniel Rowe lying in fourth with Kieran Patterson, 1.3. Christoph Peterson's got Gideon Renner onto the back of him. Gideon Renner still sporting that 55 on the side of the car, and after taking the pit board at Barcelona, needs to actually renumber that car to 50, I would think, to show off that's the speed limit you need to be at on his car. But Gideon Renner in 7th position doing a fantastic job. Werner Skuman in 8th, going and pushing his way through a little bit of no man's land, but this is where you start looking at the time and working out for Werner Skuman. Possibly going to be having a chat to the rest of the field and trying to work out where they are and starting to see where exactly everyone is on circuit to get an understanding of those pit stops. Fleming Bauer out there in 9th, pushing as hard as he can, 1.8 seconds behind Werner Skuman. Bego Frobler 1.5 seconds back from him. Mordred Claessen's trying to make up a little bit of a gap. Vietia Buerta a little bit slow through the dipper, but is making a bit of headway. Brandon Kruger in 13th, 14th, Andre Serradio, Michael Schultz, Ryan Barrington-Smith, Ian Upton, Mahath Musa now pushing on the charge as well. So great stuff between our drivers, doing everything it can. Ian Upton just keeping ahead at the moment, not going and losing out too much time, but Mahath Musa, who has served his first pit stop, continues to go on. Henry Platt has completed all his pit stops, so he's going to be just circulating till the end, and maybe that can bring him into at least the top 15 or the top 20 as an ideal feat at the moment for our pro division of the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Championship, with Ian Upton at the moment in a world of hurt. Mahath Musa up on the inside, looks to go past the 2 Project Vapors though. I don't think I'm going to argue too much, and Ian Upton allows for the pass to happen. And not going to put too much of a fight, but did give Mahath Musa a bit of a tough time there. Bernard Barkhuizen getting the climb. Kurt Bucas going and releasing him from the run. Tucks back into the toe, not to duke it out any too harder. Mordred Claesson, though, takes out the Liquid Molly sign, went to clip the dirt on the one side, and that threw him into the Liquid Molly. And unfortunately, going and losing out of position to Vietia Buerta. Now Brandon Kruger going to make quick work of him as well, as there is 0 straight line speed on that Lamborghini. Brandon Kruger gets past, beautifully done. Mordred Claessen's down into 13th position. Not ideal circumstances, but it takes one little misjudgment of a corner, a little bit too much speed into a corner, and it can all turn it onto its head. Gideon Renner, though, onto the back of Christoph Peterson as they chase their way down through the mountain, heading towards the dipper. And a second gear corner, you come down the hill, second gear, blind bend into the quick left, and charge your way through now towards the forest elbow. You keep your foot flat, let go onto the brakes, bring it down to second gear, carry the momentum, stand on the gas as hard as you can, and bring those revs right up, especially for these 2 turbocharged cars. You've got the Honda and you got the Ferrari, both turbochargers. You want to keep it within that power band of the turbos, so they keep those turbos nice and spooled up that you can get into the fight. Interesting enough, Luke Addison into the pits. He's going to be serving his first pit stop to try and get a bit of a usurp on Jordan Sherritt and Cody Sherritt, which I think is going to be the tougher one here. Luke Addison going and gambling, doesn't have to worry about Tariq Adam anymore, which is 3rd place in the championship. But Henry Mayer is going to be the next eye on that one, as we do see likes of Gideon Renner pulling into the pits. Now Henry Mayer is a little bit further down than planned after his drive-through penalty, and actually I'm trying to take a look where he is. I don't see him out there. So Jordan Sherritt out in first, Cody Sherritt in second, Daniel Rowe, Christoph Peterson, Fleming Bauer, Bego Frobler, they are still keeping close. Luke Anderson, Kieran Patterson, Werner Skuman, Vietia Buerta. I don't see Henry Mayer. So I think Henry Mayer also retired the car. And he's retired the car. And he retired on the first lap. Not putting in a fight there, which is rather unfortunate for our defending champion that's going and doing it. And bit of news coming in from the pit wall, and that is Darren Thriller Miller saying a disconnector unfortunately has taken him out of the race. Not ideal. Darren, if there is a chance, buddy, you know exactly what I'm going to say. You know I'm going to say it. If there's a chance, bud, get that car back out there. I mean, we've got to see that car get across the line and do well out there. So, you know, for everyone out there, We would like to see the cars get out, get fighting, as you see Gideon ran it past Tienes Buerta. But Darren Miller, if there's a chance to get back out on track, we want to see you get back out on track. We want to see that car come across the line. You've gotten this far. There's only 39 minutes left of the race. Give it horns. Push it as hard as you can. Even if you score a single point, it's a single point more into the championship, considering this is round 5 of the championship. You really, really want to do it. As we see Jordan Sherritt into the pits, Daniel Rowe into the pits, Cody Sherritt going to usurp the both of them and try and keep going. So he's going to go for a bit of a late stop here to just try and keep ahead of the front runners. It's going to be a bit of a difficult time. Going to be talking his way through. So this is going to be properly on the order. Christoph Peterson out in second place. Little Honda pushing as hard as he can to keep going. And this is going to be a good race between to see who's going to be able to get out of the pits as Brandon Kruger into the pits to serve his pit stop. Luke Addison lying in 13th position. Let's see, has he done enough to get closer to Jordan Sherritt, who just exited the pit lane now. Daniel Rowe still stationary. Brandon Kruger going to be stationary. Andre Sorodio stationary. So Luke Addison is going to make a climb past them. Not enough to usurp Jordan Sherritt at the moment, but is going to try his luck to close up that gap once again. So definitely a tough time out there. My call, my absolute desperation call is to the drivers that, unfortunately, like Darren Miller, having that disconnect, that mechanical letdown. I want to see you get back out on track there. I want to see you go and push as hard as you can. So shout out to Darren Miller. Please, please, please go and get that car back out. Come on, you deserve to see the checkered flag. Jason Farmer gets past while losing out to Daniel Rowe. Actually lifted off there, allowed the gap to happen and allowed for the pass. Knows where his fight is on the grid, not wanting to go and fight too much with a couple of drivers, prefers to wait it out, pull himself along, and it does work. When you're fighting for overall position, though, it is a bit of a twofold game. Do you really want to fight with the driver and try and hold that overall position, or are you looking into the championship? Who are you fighting, and what are the goals that can come out of it? You got to weigh the pros and cons with it. As Steve Bucas and Henry Pluck completed their pit stops with only 27 minutes of the race yet to go. 27 minutes. 27 minutes of the pit window and 37 minutes of the race to go. Luke Addison on the climb, got Michael Schultz ahead of him. Now Michael Schultz can do everything he can, middle of the track, trying to hold that very defensive line, going to carry it through. Luke's going to keep the toe, pull himself along through the Conrad straight. I think through the chase. No, he's actually going to take a leap beforehand, dives through the kink, and Michael Schultz, unfortunately, just not having that top end to be able to compete with Luke Addison and rather waits it out. Mordred Clausen, Fleming Bauer, both pulling into the pits, getting themselves sorted out, and they will have to get themselves up and going. Cody Sherritt still leading out the pack with the Ominous Gaming, followed by Logistical Nightmare's own Christoph Peterson, our international driver, showing what he can do. Bago Krobler up into third, Jordan Sherritt down into fourth place. Is slowly on the climb back. Vietia Buerta lying in fifth. Ryan Barrington-Smith in 6th, 7th is Luke Addison, who's all over the back of him. Now, Luke is going to push onto the back of Ryan Barrington-Smith, but I don't think Ryan's going to lift off any easier here. He's going to try and hold that position, holds the inside line, to try and see if it goes a little bit more defensive. And Luke Addison, never mind. Luke Addison actually getting the switch around on Ryan Barrington-Smith there. As Ryan's going to continue a little bit further. Looking at his pit stops, though, he still needs pit. And decided not to fight out with Luke Addison just as yet, just to see where it all goes. Johan Blicknote onto the back of Andre Sorodio, doing everything he can. Sorodio going and braking late, runs out a bit wide, touches the curb. That's going to cost him a bit of time, and Blicknote's going to have a good go at him. Looks on the inside, goes for the lunge, and come on, gets that pass. Does he? Tries, gets on the gas. Ooh, huge tank slapper from Blicknote, and now it is a straight inline 6. Inline 6 versus a V8 as Blicknote and Sorodio go side by side. Michael Schultz with a drive-through penalty for going and taking too many track limits. That is gonna be an absolute kick in the teeth, and especially around this track, oh man, it does take out a lot of it. Means he's gonna have to get back into the pits and get himself sorted out. Christoph Peterson into the pits, trying to get his pit stop done and dusted. Drivers having a tough time out there. This track, very, very unforgiving. Mount Panorama is known to leave all blood, sweat, and tears all over its walls, and the drivers are starting to feel that in buckets at the moment as they try and boot their way through the circuit. Going to be a tough time. But at the moment, Cody Sherritt leading out the pack. Bago Krobler moves up into second place. He still needs to pit though. Jordan Sherritt has completed his first pit stop. He's up into third and really giving it a horn. Christoph Peterson, Vietia Buerta into the pits. Luke Allison, who's completed his pit stop, will move up into fourth place. Vietia Buerta, Ryan Barrington-Smith, Mahath Musa all into the pits. Daniel Rowe will be the next one to score a few positions on the way through. Looking at the undercut, maybe a bit stronger here if you can keep the pace up and keep that bit of momentum. It's all about those clean runs, seeing what you can do here at Mount Panorama and where you're going to come out for it. Kieran Patterson, though, pushing a little bit harder, trying to do everything he can to just close up the gap and see where he can get into the fight. Bernard Barkhuizen running up in 8th position, gets ahead of Christoph Peterson, who exits the pits and immediately has Gideon Reyna onto the back of him. So Gideon Reyna is going to close up that gap. There's 1 second between them, and he's going to really lean into it, try and get past. Fleming Bauer is getting a bit of momentum. Michael Donaldson, who is making up a bit of time, gets ahead of Vietia Buerta. 2 former teammates, Donaldson and Vietia Buerta, who have challenged each other more than once in the past. Werner Skuman going after Vietia Buerta is going to close up that gap a little bit, and try and put the pressure onto him and get a little bit of momentum. I mean, this is round 5 of the championship for the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 championship. And the drivers are trying to figure out what can they do. Where's the goal going to come out? Where can they score those valuable points? And where can they get the big wins? Well, I can tell you, sitting at home, if you go down to the description below, you can also sign up with PokerBet today. They've got a multitude of events running that you can win big with PokerBet. Just use our affiliate link down below. It does help out RaceFace, and it will help you out as well, going and showing off some of the quick pace that these drivers are giving. Now, this is our Pro division. We do have our Pro-Am division that is also live and racing at the moment. And we've also got an Am division as well for those that are looking to get into the racing scene. Cody Sherritt up on the jacks, down on the jacks, up and going. Jordan Sherritt, Bago Krobler gets a run. Bago's going to go a little bit later into the race for the hybrid racing. Going to just sink it in a little bit deeper. And that is going to cost him time to the rest of the field. But where does he filter out is the next question. How far down the road is he going to go? And where is that going to work an advantage? As we do see Christoph Peterson a little bit loose on the dirt. And that Honda looking more than second hand at the moment. Number 77, unfortunately, landing up in a bit of an accident. So let's try and take a look at what happened here. Christoph Peterson lying in 10th place for the Logistical Nightmare Racing team over the crest of the Conrad Straight. It's going to go into a quick right-hander, getting pushed on the back by Gideon Reyna. And it just clipped the curb, slowed him up. Reyna gives him a light tap on the rear. That was just enough to upset the little Honda. And unfortunately, Peterson in the wall. He's had the worst luck this season of note. Christoph Peterson has yet to finish a race without getting a knock into the wall and walking away with severe damage. I mean, it's just gutting. But one thing I can say is the chap doesn't give up. He doesn't give up. He wants to keep going and really push his way up through the order. So hopefully they can get that car sorted out and we can see him back out on track as they are getting a bit of repair work onto him. It's going to cost him a few positions, but it's going to be just nice to get him back on track. Brandon Kruger fighting out with Vietia Buerta. Vietia tried looking for that inside line, couldn't get it all sorted out, and went and waited out to get going. Ian Upton into the pits as well, so he's getting his shot through the order. So let's go through our running order at the moment. Bago Krobler out in first. You need to still do one of these 2 pit stops. Jordan Sherritt out in second. Luke Addison in third, followed by Cody Sherritt, Daniel Rowe, Kieran Patterson, Jason Farmer, Bernard Barkhuizen, Gideon Reyna in ninth. 10th is Fleming Bauer, followed by Michael Donaldson, Werner Skuman, who is fighting out, Brandon Kruger, Vietia Buerta, and followed by Johan Lucknote, Andre Serradio, Mahath Musa, Ryan Barrington-Smith, Mordrake Claessens, Tiernas Buerta, Christoph Peterson back out on track. Well done, buddy. Getting back out on track, but it is going to feel the sting from Karabukas in 22nd. Onto the back of him, pushing as hard as he can. Michael Schultz serving that drive-through penalty. Back out on circuit in 23rd. 24th, Ian Upton in the pits. Henry Platt in 25th. 26th is the likes of Kerry van Zyl. So a couple of drivers going and moving their way up in the order. So much to talk about. So many things going on. But it does look like we're going to see a change up for the lead here. Jordan Sherritt close up the gap to Bago Krobler. Going to try and roll the dice here. Is about a second quicker through the lap. So that last lap he did a 59.4. Bago Krobler was a 201.5. So Bago was a little bit slow on that last lap. And it did compromise him a bit of time. But take a look down the running order. Mahath Musa, 17th position. and he has served all his pit stops. He's ahead of Ryan Barrington-Smith and Mordred Clarkson, so he doesn't have to worry about those two competitors. But now it is a climb for whoever gets on by. Ryan Barrington-Smith losing out a bit of pace, dives into the pits. He's also got a bit of a scratch up on the car, so he's needing to get some work done as well. Jordan Sherritt, though, getting in the chase. Bago Krobler, this is going to be all straight line now. The V8 is going to sing its song against the turbocharged V6 of the Ferrari 296. And it is going to be the Hulk Hogan, the American. I am a real American, launching by up on the inside. Jordan Sherritt going to chase down the Conrad straight. Bago Krobler tries to give it everything he's got. Does leave a bit of room. And that is Jordan Sherritt back out in the first place. Bago Krobler into second. But where is he going to filter out now? Because he's going to have to do those pit stops at some point. He's get done and dusted because we're into the last 19 minutes of the pit stops as Jordan Sherritt a bit early on the brakes. Pulled the final corner, and it was enough to keep going. So, drivers still moving their way up through the order. Jason Farmer is going to be smiling ear to ear at the moment. He's lying in 7th position, but still needs to do 2 pit stops. So he's also tried extending that gap a little too far now, and it's going to be pain all the way. Can't change tires like majority of the field actually has changed tires. He can't do it because it's going to hurt his time. So it's all splash and dash. So it's about how much has he saved in those tires. How much life can he carry on? He pulls into the pits. Bernard. No, he doesn't pull into the pits. Bernard Barkhuizen just gets on by. So Jason Farmer not wanting to burn the tires out. Going and releasing Bernard Barkhuizen. As we do see Andre Serradio straight lining the own Blicknote. Blicknote going to try and fight his way back. Side by side they go through the Conrad straight. In through the kink though, and it's still close to one another. Serradio just able to eke out. Blicknote trying to go around the outside, looks for a bit of a cutback, couldn't quite do it as the BMW sweeps across the nose. And Serradio keeping ahead of Blicknote on the way through. Looks towards the inside line, can't get that run. Going to have to wait it out just a little bit further as Michael Donaldson into the pits, going and serving his next pit stop. That is going to be a bit of an issue for him. It's going to drop down the order as he sees his teammate still stuck in the pits there and going to be scratching his head. Johan Blicknote fighting out with Andre Serradio, doing everything he can to get that little bit of momentum. And Blicknote needs to try and close up to the gap to Serradio as fast as he can to stay in the fight. It's going to be a tough time though. He's going to really have to concentrate on where he gets on by. How close can he get towards the sharp end of the field? Jason Farmer catching up to Bernard Barkhuizen. So, and that is through Skyline. So Bernard's not as comfortable as he feels through there and takes a little bit more of a cautious approach. Johan Blicknote's onto the back of Andre Serradio. This is so far 15th and 14th position in a bit of a fight with one another, and it's actually going to be working out. Serradio will be relaying information back to Mahath Musa, who is currently 4.1 seconds back from the likes of Blicknote, and saying, okay, this is where I am, this is what's going on, and start giving that information back. For the rest of the field, it's going to be talking to one another. Having your teammate in the same split as you is helpful for information of where cars are positioned, where the leader is, where are you on track, what your tire usage is looking like. Having that little bit of an oversight to the rest of the field does help in terms of picturing out these moments and saying, okay, I need to close here, I need to gain this time, I need to do this, and where can we move forward? It's just all the little moments that are extremely crucial during the course of the race. Johan Blicknote closing up to Serradio, having to do everything he can. Serradio going to try and lock it down the inside and gets a beautiful run. As we do see in shot that little purple BMW, Mahath Musa closing up. Now Mahath Musa, for many people that don't know, the Project Vapor team itself put their faith into Mahath Musa, and he does race in an overseas league called ERA. Currently fighting it out with Christoph Peterson for the championship. So it's good to see that there is drivers and teams that are going and stretching, trying to improve every step of the way, really stand on top of the order and get themselves going. Johan Blicknote onto the back of Andre Serradio, still chasing as fast as he can. Well, with 25 minutes and 30 seconds to go, we have still got plenty of racing, but I do want to point out we do have some huge news coming out, and you're going to have to stick around to the end of the race, and you don't want to miss this one out, folks. This is monster news, just dropped, and well, we're going to give you the exclusive, but I can only give it to you at the end of the race. I have been informed on that, so don't go anywhere. Monster news coming through that is going to get a lot of people excited. If you like, okay, I'm going to give you a hint. If you like racing for a long time, big news coming in. Don't go anywhere. We also do have the Spa 24 in December that is being raced by RaceFace.Pro. Definitely do join up with teams for that. That's going to be a huge amount of fun. 7th of December is going to be a bit of a wild one with not only iRacing and ACC running on the same day in an 8-hour and one in a 24-hour. So if you got your friends, definitely want to link up for. But yeah, huge news going to be dropping into the race. Just got the message. You want to be a part of it. Jordan Sherritt out in first place with Bago Krobler in second. Luke Addison lying in third. Cody Sherritt in fourth, followed by Daniel Rowe. Kieran Patterson, Bernard Barkhuizen in seventh. Eighth is Jason Farmer. Gideon Rayner lying in ninth place. 10th is Fleming Bauer. Going to make a little bit of a run as they charge their way through. This is going to be a bit of a wild race for them to go. Fleming Bauer trying to stretch open that gap a little bit more. Werner Skuman lying in 11th position with Brandon Kruger lying in 12th. Who is on the climb. Vietia Buerta, Andre Seradio, Johan Blutner now into the pits, going to serve his final pit stop and get it all done and dusty. He's going to get a bit of work done to the car as well, I would think, to be able to stay in for the fight and claw his way through to get back into that top 20. That is the target at the moment. Mordred Claessen's down in 16th position, is trying to close up to Mahayath Musa little by little, chipping away at the order. Closest fight, though, is between Gideon Rayner and Jason Farmer at the moment as they make their way through. Now, remember, this is for 15,000 Rand, folks. The prize pool for this championship, for the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Championship, the chips are on the table for the drivers to be able to put themselves in towards the sharp end in the field, and that is 15,000 Rand prize pool, and definitely one you want to see. Bago Krobler a little bit slow on the exit there, and that definitely didn't work out for the 15 car. What happened to Bago Krobler? So we're going to go back a little bit just to take a look at what happened through the final corner. Did the car get a little bit upset? He looked for the pit lane, went for it. Did he overshoot the pit lane? He did. He did. He overshot the pit lane. Bago Krobler overshot the pit lane, and that compromised him. He looked to go in the pits, but went that little bit too fast, dived in and went over it completely. That is just detrimental to his line. Gideon Rayner gets on by. Jason Farmer, he's not going to pit us yet. There's 12 minutes left in the race. When is Jason Farmer and Bago Krobler going to pull in the pits? They're going to have to double stack it in. They're going to have to do a lap and a lap. And that is just splash and dash, and just carry your way through. That is a rough time for the heat cycle in these tires. But they banking on doing that single set of tires to go for it. We did see that Bago tried to go for the pits. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out in his favor. But definitely turns into a bit of an interesting situation. Nonetheless, Andre Seradio coming into the pits. He's going to get his final stop done and dusted. Mordred Claessen, I would presume, no, I presumed wrong. I thought Mordred Claessen's would go for the pit stop. He's going to go for the overcut to see if that may be able to jump him a little bit further up in the order to be part of it. So the Pandassi team taking a bit of a gamble here, throwing the dice down and seeing where it lands. Will it be Snake Eyes? Will he be able to get the double six? Are you holding the full hand, a full house, or are you going and really looking at your hand and it's looking rather dirty and you're not wanting to do it? You're going to rather fold and let it go. But it looks like it's going to be a gamble all the way for them. Cody Sherritt, though, I want to talk about this a little bit of a gamble. Luke Addison has lost out time to Cody Sherritt, who's closed up 1.8 seconds. So where the thought process comes in, Luke Addison able to stretch his tires. He's managed to change his tires, 33.9, but now he's got Cody Sherritt closing up the gap at a rate of knots onto the back of him. So Cody's found that the later part of the race on his set of tires is definitely helping out. His last lap time was a 2:16, and that was actually a bit faster, actually 2:167. Where Luke Addison, 2:345. So Luke Addison losing out that little bit of time and having a tough time out there. Bago Krobler finally getting into the pits. Daniel Rowe going to be usurping that position and taking it away and seeing where it's going to go. So Bago's going to run this a little bit on the later side, but it looks like our top 13 drivers are taking a huge gamble on when they're going to get into the pits, each trying to push that a little bit further, and they got that mandatory pit stop to do. Otherwise, you're going to hit with a 180 seconds penalty that will be imposed at the end of the race, and that will take you from first and bring you right down to 25th position. So that will definitely hurt. So you want to be keeping very close on it. Vietia Buerta pulls into the pits, and I'm going to have to translate for this as there is a Adrian Jonker that goes and says a bit of sent a text to Vietia Buerta via the commentary box, and that is baie lekker, hey done goed. There we go. I managed to do a little bit of Afrikaans. Do apologize if I wasn't sounding the greatest. It's not really my top language, but gave it a try, Adrian. Hope it worked. Kieran Patterson all over the back of Bago Kroblet, now trying to make his way through. Remember, Bago just recently came out of the pits. He's trying to get those tyres up to temperature. Kieran Patterson has got his tyres up to temperature. He is on the chase now to get past. If he can get past Bago Kroblet and open a bit of a gap, it will give a slight buffer for when they go for the pit stops. But the only person that has yet to dive into the pits to serve at least one of their pit stops is Jason Farmer, who is running a bit of a difficult time there. Mordred Claessen's coming out, and he will immediately have Jordan Sherritt getting by, but Christoph Peterson's going to try and pull into the toe, as we do see Mordred Claessen's immediately swaps across and gets behind for the slipstream, trying to make his way through. Kieran Patterson onto the back of Bago Krobler, Hybrid Racing versus the PWSR, and Kieran tries to launch it up on the inside. Couldn't quite knock it for the sixes there. Has to get it back and really pull himself into check. Looking on the way through, dives into the pits. And that was a little bit of a second-guessing situation. Was going to go for it and second-guessed it. Go for it, maybe, no, yes, okay, gonna go for it. So definitely a hard time there. But Cody Sherritt now 1.5 seconds closer to Luke Addison. Christoph Peterson is a 0.4 of a second to Mordred Claessen's. Now Mordred is trying to get those tires back up to 10. Get that heat cycle up and going. Try and circulate at this point. Mordred Claessen's is going to be in a tough situation as he makes his way through. Christoph Peterson, though, going to be challenging. Looks down for the inside line. Couldn't quite get it all hooked up. Makes his way through. Keeping a very close eye on that Lamborghini to see where the tail's going to start kicking out on it with colder set of tires. But Mordred's got it all hooked up at the moment as they make their way around through Forest Elbow, down the Conrad Straight. This is where you want to be a lot closer to the competition. You don't want to be too far back. Otherwise, you're getting that dirty air constantly bouncing against the car. Makes life a rather miserable time, but also you're not getting the advantage of that slipstream at all. And at the moment, with a gap of a second, this does not help him. He's got to break it down to at least 0.6 of a second to be able to get that slipstream effect to start kicking in, especially on this sim. So you've got to really close and tighten up the gap. But with 7 minutes left in the pit window, drivers are going to have to really start considering the pit stops, because Jordan Sherritt, Luke Addison, Cody Sherritt, Daniel Rowe, Bago Krobler, Bernard Barkhuis, and Jason Farmer especially has got the biggest problem here. Needs to get that pit stop done. Fleming Bauer and Werner Skuman need to get that pit stop sorted, as we do see Fleming Bauer loses out the run and is pulling into the pits. He's got damage on the car, and that unfortunately is him teleporting back to the pit, well, getting towed back to the pits. Let's see what happens to the number 4 though, as he made his way through. Yeah, it's up towards Skyline. Clips a curb, tail, just sliding out. McLaren gets a bit unsettled, and yeah, no, unfortunately something going horribly wrong with the car, and that was Fleming Bauer. So something went on with the car that it wasn't comfortable, loose, and then let go. So unfortunately, that is another one of the Martin Racing cars going out of the race. First of it was Henry Mayer, and it's just gone downhill for the Martin Racing team. And oh man, I'd love to get a bit of information on what happened to that car, try and figure out what has gone on. Jason Farmer, Vernon Skuman into the pits. They serving their final pit stop. Mordred Claessen's Christoph Peterson chasing each other down, but Tianis Buerta is just ahead of them as well. So Tianis Buerta is going to be pushing as hard as he can to really do everything to charge their way through. So this is a tough time for all the drivers, and a very, very tough pill for a lot of drivers to swallow at the moment. But yeah, I'd love to find out what's happening in the Martin Racing camp, because that was not, he didn't clip any walls. It just looked like the car was loose the whole way through, and he brought it back. Track has cooled down to 27 degrees, so it's definitely not the temperature that was hurting him out there. Ryan Barrington-Smith, though, definitely hurting up against the wall for the Logistical Nightmare team. That is number 74 going, and unfortunately having a run against the wall. Definitely not ideal situations for Ryan Barrington-Smith. Takes the climb up. Did he clip the curb like many others? He's sporting a bit of damage to start. Oh no, just hooked the dirt, and there was the impact. So had damage previously, and that was pretty much that to carry through, and unfortunately stuck him into the wall. Cody Sherritt onto the back of Luke Addison, 1.3 seconds, so that is closing. That gap is getting closer and closer between them, and it's going to be into a bit of an interesting one, because Cody Sherritt can do one or two things here. Overcut or undercut Luke Addison, depending on where they go, how far they're willing to push one another, and it is going to be a tough time out there. So drivers are having to think really outside the box to see what is going to be the advantage, who's going to be able to get that climb and really make their way in for the fight. So tough times out there. Drivers looking that a little bit further. Unfortunately, some not able to make it to the line, and others having a bit of a really catastrophic race of notes is the only way to describe it, because there is some tough racing out there. The walls are unforgiving. This is definitely a rough track, but if you can survive the mountain, you have really done it. So for those cars that are in the pits, Fleming Bauer, Ryan Barrington-Smith, Mac van der Merwe, Henry Meyer, Henko van der Berg, I'd love to see them getting back out on track and at least come across the line. They are really needing to do that. I prefer to see it, and don't want to see them throwing in the towel just as yet. Mordred Claessen's onto the back of Tennis Puerta, goes and chases him down the straightaway. They go. Tennis Puerta looking to hold the line, runs out a little bit wide out of the Conrad straight, middle of the circuit. Mordred Claessen's on the dirt, trying to hit the brakes on the dirt. Didn't quite work out in his favor. He's able to bring it back, but that got into a little bit of a rush situation. Christoph Peterson now going to have a go at him around the outside, also clipping the dirt. Can't quite get the drive. Tucks in right behind. Really goes for a little bit of a push on the inside. And Mordred was able to just stand on that gas a little bit quicker and keeps it all in check. So running a good race there. Christoph Peterson, Mordred Claessen still throwing arms and hands at one another. Going and throwing the entire kitchen sink. And while they're doing that, 4.1 seconds back. Do not count this man out. Michael Donaldson is definitely a threat that can become a very real threat to both Christoph Peterson and Mordred Claessen. They are duking it out, because as they fight it out, they're dropping those lap times badly, and that is going to slowly allow Michael Donaldson to get into the mix, and it'll create a whole different train of monster for them. Peterson looks up on the inside, 2 minutes of our pit window left, and drivers are going to have to get in. Bego Krobler, Bernard Barkhuizen into the pits. Jordan Sherritt needs to also get into the pits. Luke Addison, Cody Sherritt, Daniel Rowe needing to get into the pits. Brandon Kruger and Jason Farmer needing to get into the pits. There is only 2 minutes. Cody Sherritt is now making his way up in the mountain. This is going to be calling it close for all the drivers. Jordan Sherritt coming down the hill. He will be able to get into the pits without too much of an issue. Luke Addison, I think he might be able to make it, and Cody Sherritt's on the back of him. Possibly, if all goes right, if all goes to plan, they will just, and I mean just by the skin of their teeth, get in. It's going to be a proper run through it all, and this is going to be a tough time. So the pit stops becoming crucial. Mahayath Musa on that climb, and take a look. Bego Krobler is currently lying in 5th place with Kieran Patterson chasing him down. So these two have managed to usurp the field. Jordan Sherritt into the pits, flies in at a rate of knots. Luke Addison and Cody Sherritt making their way through. 1 minute 5. They will be able to get it into the pits just by the skin of their teeth. They've made it and getting themselves sorted, but it's going to be a hot chase. Where you come out, that's the question. Luke has got a lot on the line here. Cody has an opportunity. He finished 3rd at Barcelona. He has a chance to do it again, and has a chance to put the knife into the back of Luke Addison in the pit stop. Who's going to be up on the jacks? Who's going to be able to get out first? Mordred Claessen's onto the back of Tennis Puerta. They fighting it out. This is going to get wild. This is going to get crazy, folks. This is going to get interesting. Daniel Rowe into the pits as well as they try and do it. So 2nd, 3rd, 4th, all in the pits at the same time. Luke Addison first, Cody Sherritt 1 second back, Daniel Rowe lying in 4th, is a little bit further back from the rest of that fight. Don't think he's going to be too much involved. But who's going to get the tires up to 10 quickly as Luke Addison exits the pit? Cody Sherritt immediately onto the back of him as they push their way through. Mordred Claessens, unfortunately, gets it all wrong and lands up with a bit of a problem. Let's go back 30 seconds here because he was behind Tienes Buerta, closing up the gap on the charge, trying to make his way through with Tienes Buerta just ahead of him. Mordred gets a little bit slidey coming up the hill and all looking okay there. Where did it all go wrong for the Lamborghini? A little bit unsettled. Oh, just clipped the wall. Oh, just that understeer clipped the wall. And that was all she wrote, to lose out the position. It's not ideal circumstances there. Bago Krobler onto the back of Kieran Patterson, who is now up into 5th place. So Kieran has taken that position away from Bago Krobler. Bago's going to throw hands for the final run. But with 9 minutes and 20 seconds, folks, we have got a race for 2nd place. Cody Sherritt versus Luke Addison. A second between one another. Two former teammates gonna be fighting it out. Two friends are gonna be fighting it out, and lots on the line. ITB Esports against the likes of Omnius Gaming are gonna go and throw down at one another. Who's got the tires up to temperature? Who's got enough in the tank to push that little bit more? Well, Jason Farmer's gonna have to push a little bit more. He's in 18th and has Blick Notes immediately looking to go underneath him. That Mustang just didn't have the power out of the corner to go after Jason Farmer, but did try his luck at it, and that is being a proper run. Jordan Sherritt out in 1st, Luke Addison in 2nd, with Cody Sherritt currently running in 3rd, 8 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Daniel Rowe lying in 4th place ahead of Kieran Patterson, Bago Krobler, Bernard Marquez, and Mahath Musa. Werner Skuman in 9th, 10th is Brandon Kruger. 1.8 seconds back from him, Vietia Buerta, the lone Martin Racing, is out on the track there. Andre Sorodio in 12th, 13th, Tienes Buerta, followed by Christoph Peterson, Mordred Claessens, and Michael Donson, Hero Bukas, Johan Blicknotes, and Jason Farmer. He actually got a little bit out of shape through the final corner, so he's going to have to push, but currently sitting in the top 20, but Michael Schultz is going to try and close up that gap. 14 seconds behind, but there is an opportunity to try and take through because he is eating into the second. Jason Farmer is hemorrhaging time at the moment. What has gone on with that Ferrari that has made him so uncomfortable with the car as they make their way through? So all looking okay at the moment. And I can't tell you what has gone on with Jason Farmer's car, but it's definitely affected. Michael Schultz closing up in 20th. 21st, Ian Upton, followed by Henry Platt, Ryan Barrington-Smith, and Kerry Van Zale getting a little bit out of shape, catches the wall on the way through. Mac van der Merwe still in the pits, Fleming Bauer in the pits. Oh, there's still so much going on. But let's talk about what's going on the track. 3rd place versus 2nd place. Cody Sherritt up against Luke Addison. They chasing their way through. They absolutely getting horns. Oh, no, Cody loses it though. Coming out of Skyline, that's cost him a bit of time. It's going to really hammer on this one. And now this is going to be a chase down to the wire. 7 minutes to go. And it's all on the cards. Who's going to be able to get the fight on the way through? Who's going to be able to stand above it all when they come towards it? We're actually going to put a quick poll out to everyone to see what your thoughts is. Is it going to be Luke or is it going to be Cody for 2nd? So we're going to put that out. It's going to ask admin to do that. And get an idea for the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet, who is going to get the 2nd place between these two as they fight it out. Poll's gone out. Crowd's going to go for it. As here in the world of RaceFace.Pro and PokerBet, we love to hear back from you guys. We love to see where are the odds stacking at the moment. Cody and Luke as they fight it out in the running stages of this race for 2nd place. It is all or nothing for the drivers to really push themselves that little bit more. Who's got enough in the tank? And Cody chasing down Luke in the toe. Close up, 0.4 of a second. Luke Addison watching his mirrors very, very carefully at the moment. Doesn't want to be caught out on the chase down off the rear camera of the ITV Esports Ferrari. You can see how Cody closes up into turn 2, trying everything he can. Cody has got the bite underneath him. And this is what I've been calling for. This is the one I wanted to see, is Cody taking the fight to Luke. The two drivers that have been friends with one another. Luke ran away with the race last night, but tonight is a little bit different, and something has really gotten for the drivers to push it a little bit harder. Christoph Peterson onto the back of Tienes Buerta as well as they chase their way through. But for the final 20 minutes of the final 5 minutes and 20 seconds of this race. Come on, Stephen, talk English. I know you're getting excited here, but this is still close. Cody Sherritt losing a bit of time through the top of Skyline, does make it up through the dipper on the brakes, dips it in a bit early, carries the momentum through, all the way charging down towards the Forest Elbow, second gear corner. So going to have to hold third, down into second, high second, into first. So he's going to carry the drive, lights up those rears to try and bring his way through. But Cody, losing out that little bit of time, has allowed Luke Addison to give a little bit of go to him. As we see Tinus Buerta and Christoph Peterson chasing each other down as well. So much is still yet to come in this fight. With the last 4 minutes to go, it's all or nothing. And for our drivers, as they really try and step up the pace, and Peterson lines up next to Tinus Buerta, the two of them going side by side down the straight. Tinus Buerta is going to have the advantage, but it does look like Christoph Peterson getting a little bit more momentum, but can he get the climb? Mordred Claessens has got Michael Donaldson onto the back of him. Remember I said watch out for Michael Donaldson? Well, here is the fact of the matter, as the two have a good go at one another. Oh! Mordred and Michael Donaldson into the wall, both having a bit of a problem. Donaldson trying to get the car turned around, and the Claessens having a lot of damage on the car, scraping up against the wall, not having an easy time out there. The two of them coming to blows with one another, and that is not an ideal situation. Let's go to Helicam and just try and get an understanding of what happened between the two of them. Heading into the mountain through the cutting. So it's up through the cutting, and it looks like Mordred got the defensive inside. Oh, contact from the rear. Donaldson gets into the back of Claessens. That twisted him around, so definitely not an ideal situation. Back up towards the sharp end of the field, though, as they fight their way through. Jordan Sherritt leads it out, and unbeknownst to him is Luke Addison and Cody Sherritt fighting their way out. Through the fight they go, up through the hill. Luke Addison really starting to feel it, though, running out to the curbs, and that is not ideal. You can lose so much time. You can land up with the car snapping underneath you. Cody Sherritt's going to keep feeding the pressure on to the back of Luke Addison at the moment as they make their way down towards the Forest Elbow. It's going to be for that final swing of note. Luke is still trying to keep ahead of Cody Sherritt, but now Cody's got the advantage of the slipstream. Down the Conrad straight they go, and Luke already moving to the middle of the circuit. Gonna keep to the outside, look for a bit of a swing in through the kink. Cody's keeping nice and close though, 0.3 of a second. Can he close it up? 0.2 possibly? Comes through very close, keeping it nice and tight. Late on the brakes, bleeds it off a bit early onto the back of Luke Addison. And you can see Luke also trying to get a little bit deeper into the corner, see where that's going to work out for him. Both going and throwing arms at one another. Cody Sherritt, a little bit of a look on the inside, sitting in that left-hand mirror, going and letting the likes of Luke Addison know, hey, I'm coming, buddy. Don't worry about this. So we're into the final stages of this race, and it's all on the cards. Second place is between these two cars. Daniel Rowe in fourth, Kieran Patterson in fifth. Jordan Sherritt out in first, isn't aware of this fight. Now I think if he was, this is going to be a huge one to watch back and really take note of, as Luke Addison and Cody Sherritt still chasing each other down. But Cody is looking in those mirrors. He's focusing to try and get Luke to just take his eyes slightly off the apex and become into a little bit of a problem. So Jordan Sherritt going to be making his way up through the hill. I think will be on to his last lap on this next lap, which means everyone else has got to go and deal with it. As we see here, Bucas, no! Bucas lost it at the top of Skyline, and that is the 333, losing out to Jason Farmer. Michael Schultz will be closing up at a rate of knots to try and retake that position. As we do follow through with Cody Sherritt and Luke Addison still going to war with one another. 0.4 of a second in the final minute and 6 seconds of this race. This is gonna be a proper run. Cody's got to pull it out all out of the bag here. Luke Addison for the ITB Esports needs to show why he is there in the team, why he can take the fight up to the sharp end. And this is going to be a Cody Sherritt 0.5 of a second, not as close as he was the previous lap to Luke Addison. As they make their way through, he's trying to close the gap little by little. It's going to be a monumental run. This is points on the table for Luke Addison. And we have got confirmation from Jim. Jordan Sherritt is on his final lap. It means one more lap for Luke Addison and Cody Sherritt. Jason Farmer comes on by, blick notes into the wall, trying to turn himself around. And he's going to be turning himself around as these two come creaming around the corner and absolutely going to be blasting by. So we're going to close off the poll and see where is it going to be. Who is where? Cody with 69% chance to take second place. Luke, 30% chance. That is the odds. Go ahead and put in. Can Luke defy the odds? Can Cody be that hero for the odds? This is going to be it for the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Championship. Round 5, final lap is on the card. Second place separated by 0.2 of a second. Cody chasing through the cutting. And Luke trying to defend that inside line, guarding it like it's his life at the moment to stay within the fight. This will, if Cody gets past, Luke is going to hemorrhage points. That is going to be vital towards the end of the championship. But Cody Sherritt has an opportunity here. He got the good wicket at Barcelona, getting third place. Can he get second here at the mountain? He gets it out of shape though. Really battling to bite the car down. Luke Addison giving everything he's got. Jordan Sherritt though, down the main straight. He's going to be quite happy with his drive. Go and finish out in first place. Luke Addison doing everything he can. Cody Sherritt giving it all he's got. Each looking for as much grip they can possibly get. Now it is just power on the way through. But coming through the corners, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for Jordan Sherritt taking the checkered flag on a monumental run after a great race here at the lovely Bathurst. Luke Addison, 0.8 of a second. Cody Sherritt's got 3 corners to close it up. Tries to go for it. Unfortunately, not close enough just as yet. 2 more corners to go. Cody Sherritt, 0.8 of a second. I think he has now given up that fight and now going to be handing it over to the likes of Luke Addison taking second place. Great run for him. Mordred Claessen's fighting out with Tennis Puerta as they're on their final lap, getting that little bit of a climb up the hill. Maith Musa trying to make his way through. Claessen's a little bit slow on the exit to Tennis Puerta. So Jordan Sherritt, followed by Luke Addison and Cody Sherritt taking that third place. Daniel Rowe in fourth. Kieran Patterson in fifth. Sixth place is Bego Formula. Bernard Barquez in seventh. At the moment, Maith Musa would be finishing in eighth. Ninth place, Werner Skuman, followed by Brandon Kruger trying to close up that gap. Beatia Buerta in 11th, 12th position, Andre Saradio. Christoph Peterson in 13th, 14th is Tiernas Buerta. Only 1 second back from him is Mordred Claessen's, who's going to fight it out and really do what he can. At the moment, it's going to be a proper charge. Mordred Claessen's doing everything he can to lay into the back of Tiernas Buerta, but is it going to be enough? He's going to have to really close the gap up. I mean, gotta say, second and third finished by 0.5 of a second, folks, when they came across the line. That tells you a story of how hard these drivers on our pro division have been pushing up and down through the field. Been rather impressive during this race, and got to take my hats off to them. And I think everyone out there on the grandstands will be taking our hats off. But at the moment, Mordred Claessen's for the Panassi team has one more chance to lay it into the hybrid racing. Breaks a bit late. Tiernas Buerta getting his elbows out, showing how wide that McLaren can be. Has got one more corner to go for the defense. Mordred Claessen's going to try and close up the gap. Is it enough, though? Not a chance. And that is going to be Tiernas Buerta getting a good exit. Good run. Mordred Claessen's 0.3 of a second comes across the line. What a race. What a run. And what an exciting time for the race at hand here at Bathurst. The Mount Panorama. What a race. What a run. And what an exciting time. Man, oh man, I know there's a couple of drivers that are going to be completely out of breath after that one. But you got to take your hats off to all our drivers for surviving the mountain. Those, unfortunately, that couldn't make it to the end is, man, it's gutting to see. I'd really love to see the drivers get to the end. Unfortunately, mechanical faults being the number one cause of it, and drivers having to retire the car due to it. So hopefully they can get those mechanical faults sorted out for the next race and get back in for round 6 happening next week. So we're going to quickly go and take a look. Our drivers will be climbing out of the car and getting in towards the commentary box. It's going to be interesting to have a chat with them. I know 2 drivers are going to be really, really out of breath, and we'll have a chat to them. So starting off with our third place, they're going to bring up to the commentary box after a great race on his part. Let's bring up Cody Sherritt for a phenomenal run. Cody Sherritt, welcome to the commentary box. Absolutely a race and a half. I mean, we got to talk about your success, third place at Barcelona. And you said, well, it's because Jordan had a bit of a problem. I would have to put that to bed. Bathurst, you had to fight it out. And 0.5 of a second at the end, that must have been nail-biting at the end of the race. Take us through the race for you, because that was just up and down through the field.
Yeah, it was a bit annoying. I'm not really sure what happened in my first stint. I don't know if I had bug tires, but I was struggling a lot. And also, both the braking boards were gone, and I had no idea where to brakes. And so I was constantly making mistakes, which allowed Luke to get past. And then in the second stint, when I changed tires, I managed to be a lot faster. I caught up to Luke, but once got within half a second, I struggled with the rear a lot with the dirty air, and just wasn't fast enough to overtake.
Oh, I've got to say, you had everyone standing on the feet. The entire grandstand was going wild. That last little stint really pushed it. And honestly, we actually ran a poll here, at RaceFace.Pro and PokerBet. We ran a poll to see the odds from the spectators. And the spectators, 69% of the spectators put it on the cards for you to take second place. So there was major cheering on the side going on. And I'm sure while racing down there, it's just exciting. But the race in total, hot track, difficult circuit, a lot of pushing. I mean, this is definitely one of those tracks. If you could survive it, it works well. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. If you make a slight mistake down the mountain, your race is over. So just about keeping it on track.
Well, absolutely phenomenal stuff, Cody. It's really, really good to see that you're fighting out towards the front. You're taking the front. You're taking the fight to the front. That does help you with some valuable points for the championship for yourself. As you're lying 5th in the championship, you missed out the first round, but it seems to be on the comeback. Jordan is lying in 4th when he was coming into this race. Tariq, unfortunately, a DNF. This would be his second DNF for the season. Would drop him down. You were ahead of Henry Mayer, so you're a little bit closer to Luke in the championship. It's round 5 of 8. How are you feeling for the rest of the championship? I mean, this is now starting to get very, very close. And with that prize pool of 15,000 Rand on the cards, I'm sure there's a little gremlin in the back of your head saying, I can get them.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't be here if I said I couldn't win. And yeah, for the next round, I think it's Watkins Glen, and it's one of my good tracks, so feeling positive for that.
Well, absolutely incredible stuff. Cody Sherritt of Omnibus Gaming, you know what? You deserved it. Everyone standing on their feet out there at the track in the virtual grandstands. Our sponsors, PokerBet, are absolutely thrilled with the race that they've seen. Our associate sponsors here at RaceFace.Pro are through the roof about it. The floor is yours. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give a round of applause to Cody Sherritt. Cody, floor's yours to address the virtual grandstands for your 3rd place and a extremely close finish in towards the end. That was nail-biting right the way through.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thanks for the viewers to sticking around. Thanks to my team, and thanks to the sponsors, PokerBet. Thank you.
Absolutely great stuff. Cody, enjoy the champagne. You deserved it. Making it 2 top 3s. I'm looking forward to seeing that 2nd place, and I think the pressure has been put on. The challenge has been given to Luke, and I look forward to seeing how the race is going to go heading for the rest of the championship.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely incredible stuff. Let's bring in 2nd place, Luke Addison, to come and have a chat to us after that race. Luke Addison, welcome to the commentary box. And man, oh man, you must be out of breath. Defense of note required at that second half. The first half looked a bit like it was a bit set in stone. You got past Cody, you got the run. But the second half, you had to pull every trick out of the book. It's been a long time since we've seen Luke get that defensive.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. The start of the race wasn't so ideal. We were kind of bunched up. Then, unfortunately, for some reason, the brake marker in the second last corner and the last corner disappeared. So when, unfortunately, Tariq, myself, and Cody were trailing each other, none of us could see the break marker in terms of the board. And then Tariq unfortunately broke a little bit too late. And then, yeah, if I didn't break early, I would have completely smacked into the back of him. And then with Cody, he was struggling in the first stint a little bit. I don't know, sometimes, I don't know, it's ACC, that's sometimes a bit weird, where the setup just doesn't feel right, and it just doesn't, the grip doesn't seem there. I told him it's fine. In the second stint, you'll be fine, you'll be alive, which is exactly what happened. So I tried to make as most as possible of the opportunity I had when I passed him. And then, yeah, at the end, I knew he was coming, and I just had to head down and try and defend as hard as I could.
So I'm guessing it went dead quiet in that box as you were fighting it out. But Luke, I mean, you've had some very close fight moments throughout your sim racing career. Through the mountain, how difficult is it to guard your lines in the mountain? I mean, there is no room for error. If you slightly outbreak yourself, you got a problem, and you have to put a lot of trust in the competitor that you're racing to not also give you that slight little tap that may affect you. What's your thoughts of managing to defend in the mountain?
Yeah, in the mountain, unless a heavy mistake happens, I don't think there's too much the person can do behind, unless they're significantly faster. I think the person behind also has a lot of work to do with the understeer that they receive on the front end of their car. So it's as much as sending it, trying not to bin it, for me, as it is for Cody behind, trying to calculate how much he's going to understeer, when to lift, where to lift, and just place the car in the right places. Yeah, it's very, very tricky. As you said, there's no room for error. There's a couple of times that I missed my mark on T4 and he'd get right onto the rear end of me going up the mountain, and yeah, it's just then and there you hope that you don't have a wall tap here or there, otherwise an instant opportunity gets created.
Well, absolutely incredible stuff. And we also had the PokerBet poll go out of who's going to be able to get second place. Cody got 69% of the vote there, but you got 30%. So the odds weren't in your favor, but you managed to roll the dice and you didn't get the snake eyes. You got that second place, which does help you in the championship. You're currently leading. Henry Mayer didn't have the best of races. He's unfortunately way out. Tariq Adam also. So we had Henry Mayer, DNF, Tariq Adam, DNF, Jordan Sherritt in fourth place got first, Cody Sherritt got second. But that is a big, valuable set of points for you in the championship. And it is getting a little bit close. It's getting a little bit tighter in that regard. Are you feeling the pressure at the moment for the championship, or are you feeling that you have the opportunity, considering this is round 5 done? We've only got a couple of rounds left before we hit round 8, which will be the final race of the season with that prize pool of 15,000 Rand on the line.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a comfortable position to be in at the moment in the lead. I think it's only a matter of time till Jordan passes me. I think it is mostly the inevitable, just because of the raw pace he has over the rest of us. So yeah, it's just trying to get as many points as possible, try and get those second places at as best as possible, and hope that Jordan, which doesn't happen that often, makes a mistake. But yeah, try and score as many points from here till the end as possible, and hope that maybe we can pull out the win, or if not, a second place in the championship.
Absolutely great stuff. Well, the ITV Esports is going to be happy with that one. Luke Addison finishing up in second place. But Luke, anything you would like to say to the Amazing Grandstands? They were standing on their feet with the fight at the end. They were going wild. And also our sponsors, PokerBet, was going absolutely mad in the VIP Grandstands, along with our associate sponsors. Anything you would like to say out to your competitors, the drivers, and to our amazing sponsors. And not to forget, last but not least, is our amazing fans out there in the virtual grandstands. Anything you'd like to say to them?
Yeah, thank you to everyone for all the support through all the various streaming avenues. Thank you to everyone that's doing stuff behind the scenes, the commentary, you for your excellent work in the commentary box after every race, and then also during the race. Thank you to Baptist, PokerBet, all the sponsors, all the competitors, and GGs to Jordan as well as Cody, and fortunate for Tariq. And yeah, thank you ITB and everyone supporting.
Absolutely great stuff. Luke Addison, well done on that second place. Go and enjoy the champagne. You earned it, buddy.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Cheerio. Oh, Luke Addison, always fantastic to have a chat to him. But first place, taking the win overall. Going to be smiling ear to ear on that one. Fourth in the championship. Another win in the bag. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Jordan Sherritt taking the win here at Bathurst for round 5 of the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Championship. Jordan, what a drive out there. You got into the lead. You blasted away as early as you can and just kept that lap time going. Was the most consistent I've seen a person able to hit 2 minutes and sub 2 minutes over the course of 1 hour and 20 minutes. How are you feeling? You must be absolutely knackered after that one.
Yeah, I mean, Bathurst is one of those tracks where closer to the walls you are, I mean, in the right direction, the faster you go. So it's just, it's one of the most fun tracks, I think, in ACC. As a driver, you're always close to the walls. You sending it, and when you do a good lap, you know it. Other tracks become a bit dull. So, yeah, it was fun. I think the setup was good. The car was, I guess, for the most part, good. It's a Ford, so it likes to chew the rears, but overall, it was pretty good.
Well, I mean, working your way through the hill, getting past the back markers, I'm sure that wasn't an easy thing to do, and constantly monitoring where guys were. How was it getting past cars at Bathurst? It seems like once you enter the mountain, you're pretty locked in position unless you're willing to take a very risky move that can end up rather bad. But you had to try and work your way through it.
Yeah, I mean, the track's very narrow, and the fastest way is literally getting close to the wall, so there's not much space. So I think you got to get lucky with the back markers. I got lucky a couple times and unlucky sometimes, but I had enough of a margin where I didn't really have to worry too much. I was just kind of waiting for the straight going, or the back, the corner going onto the back straight, then making the move there. So yeah, I mean, overall it was pretty good, and the guys were very respectful on the track, so all smooth sailing.
Oh, absolutely great stuff nonetheless. Jordan, fantastic stuff. You scored points. You came 4th in the championship at the moment. The new points are going to really help step you up into the top 3. The floor is yours to address. Our amazing fans out there that were cheering you on, our amazing sponsors, PokerBet, and our associate sponsors with RaceFace.Pro, being the Scallywags Drifting Academy, Red Star Raceway, and Extreme Service Center. Anything you'd like to say out to everyone, the floor is yours on that epic first place run.
Thank you. No, obviously, thanks to the sponsors. Without them, it wouldn't be possible. They put on a great show. Also to you yourself as the commentator. Obviously, without you, there's no broadcast and there's no show for everyone to watch. So you make that. So thank you. And then, thank you to everyone who's watching. And I guess we'll see you on the next one.
That's going to be a good one. If I can recommend, the show wasn't made by me, but I would recommend watching the last 10 minutes of that race, Jordan. You would be quite on the edge of your seat if you want to see some great side-by-side moments. But thank you very much, Jordan, for a fantastic run, and we look forward to having a chat to you further heading in next week.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed, buddy. Fingers crossed.
Cool.
Well,
cheers.
Jordan Sherritt, everybody. Fantastic stuff. Absolutely great stuff. And, well, we're going to have a bit of an interesting one here. I'm going to try and get my co-commentator to jump in. For those that have made it to the end of the broadcast, or those that have flicked across, we're going to announce some really epic news over the course of the Pro-Am and the Pro broadcast. This goes out to you guys because we're dropping the ball here. This is a big release that's going out. Tristan, I've got to say I'm super excited about going and giving this bit of news. You got to hold me, buddy. Hold my hand because this is...
I'm holding, man. I'm holding.
This is a tough one out here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have heard from tonight that the virtual 9 hours of Kailami is running as a hybrid type event, which means for those wanting to race alongside the 9 hours of Kailami at Kailami, you will be there. But also those that are at home, sitting in Durban, sitting in Cape Town, that thought you were missing out on the opportunity, you now can join up with the teams and race in the virtual 9 hours of Kailami. Huge bomb drop there, Tristan. And I know that everyone that's waited till last to hear this big news is going to be excited to be a part of it. I got to say, I'm interested to see the team mix here. I'm interested to see how it goes. I know for the Omnibus Gaming, you guys are getting ready to slap in a whole lot of drivers to be part of the show. And you're even driving, Tristan.
Yep, that is true. I'm indeed driving at the event, which is going to be quite a fun one. It's the first time in the sim racing history, so we got to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a fun one. Sadly, I'm going to be racing in the Bathurst 24-hour. So, not the Bathurst, the Silverstone, being the Brit car. Damn, going to miss that one. But any case, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. Ladies and gentlemen, there is the bombshell news dropping down. You heard it here first from Tristan and myself, Stephen Koenig. For us, Tristan, Pro was exciting on the way through. I don't think you could get any closer if you tried with your Pro-Am. I think the pros took the win tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Pro-Am was very eventful. I wouldn't say as eventful as our sprint race last night. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see too much of the pro side of things. A little bit of events here and there with a couple of blockages. We did have a little bit of a turn one pileup with one of the McLarens facing sideways instead of straight on the uphill left-hander, and completely blocking it off like a South African roadblock. So that was quite an interesting one to see. But at the end of the day, we had our race leader with a 30-second gap to the rest of the field because he was the only one who didn't change tires. So lots and lots of interesting changes coming over here. Lots of drivers pulling in those strats and finding their unique driving styles. And that's what we love to see here at RaceFace.
Oh, it's going to be a wild one. It's going to be exciting. We ended up with second place separated by 0.5 of a second and 0.2 at one point between Luke and Cody in the run. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that does bring us to the end of the broadcast. That brings us to the end of the week. And unfortunately, that means it's the end of the racing week for now. But join us next week as we're going to be having a bit of fun. The final round for the RaceFace.Pro iRacing GT3 Sprint Series. They're going to be having an 80-minute race on Tuesday. 8:30, tune in, be a part of it. It's going to be exciting. First 80 minutes they're going to be ever running here in iRacing at RaceFace.Pro. Lots of excitement on that one. Wednesday, we move on to round 6 of our RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series, where Tristan's going to be in the car. We've got lots of exciting times happening out there. It's going to be a bit of a wild one as well. And then Thursday, we will be having our RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Championship. Both Wednesday and Thursday, 8:10, we will be going live out to you guys. And on Thursday will be the Pro and Pro-Am as it is. Tristan, any final words from your part, considering we just dropped the bombshell of a news out to all our virtual spectators there and those that are watching and joined in towards the end?
Well, I mean, I guess what I can say now is that there's no more excuses for anybody who did not want to, who wanted to do it. And like Steven mentioned, all the Cape Town guys, all the Durban guys who just couldn't get up here in time, or just couldn't afford it to, or bring all that haulage up here. You no longer have to stress about that. So make your way over raceface.net, get yourself signed up, and come and race with us on the 30th of November alongside the real life cars on track. It's a once in a lifetime sim racing adventure. And the beauty of it is now that it's hybrid. So some of you guys who cannot make it to the track get to still experience the thrill just off track. But just like we have normal endurance races here at RaceFace, it's going to be just the same thing, same level of competition and same level of awesomeness. So get yourself signed up, get yourself team members, and be there.
I do recommend being at the track to go and see some of the racing there. It's definitely well worth it versus just being at home. So if you have an opportunity to go Carl Army, go and do it and meet up with the very own star in the car, Tristan Herbs. They'll be behind and having a bit of fun out there for the OG team. Tristan, really looking forward to seeing you out there, buddy. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much for joining us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification icon, and leave a like on the streams. Let us know what was your favorite moment here at Bathurst going through the mountain. And like always, it's going to be a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody. With all the amazing racing that comes to you weekly, we have to give acknowledgement to our sponsors. Without them, this would not be possible here at RaceFace.Pro. So starting off with our first sponsor, let's go and take your hats off to PokerBet for all the tournaments, for all the cash gains, daily free rolls, and sports betting. There's no better place to be and win with PokerBet. With it all revved up and you're looking for high speed, whether you're into drag, drift, or even long circuit, Red Star Raceway has got you covered. If you're looking to upgrade your car or make sure it's running slick and smooth, go and head over to Extreme Service Center to get you that full mile across the race line, or whether you're going good in the dash. Sliding in to keep you on your toes, Scallywags Drift Academy will keep you right at the top of the pack. And if you're looking for all your streaming needs, head over to Tenvo Tech for all the overlays. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been an honor having you. We'll see you next time right here from the THT Productions.